What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 10 nanoseconds chapter 251 Good and Evil inside the 9 Snake Island Palace. Luffy sat at the table, grabbing the barbecue with both hands and eating madly. Aunt, do you have any more of this meat? Hancock sat on the throne, and when he heard Luffy calling him Aunt, he felt secretly delighted. This is one step closer to Master Su Ming. As a result, Luffy seemed to be more pleasing to the eye. Yes, come on, my nephew Luffy wants to eat this. Quickly ask someone to make 10 more servings, no, make 100. Eat slowly, don't choke. When you come to your aunt's place, it's like being at home. Come on, try this. Hancock has already put himself in the position of Luffy's elder. After a meal, Luffy's belly was so bloated that people were worried it would explode. This is probably the most filling meal I have ever had since going out to sea. Fortunately, Luffy did not forget his business after eating. Aunt Hancock, I have to go. Ace is impelled down to be executed. I have to get him out. Hancock narrowed his eyes and smiled. Impelled down is a deep-sea prison built by Marine. With your current strength, it's difficult for you to even save Ace or even enter impelled down. Luffy tilted his head when he heard Hancock's words. Without the external brain Nami, he couldn't think of a solution on his own. Looking at Luffy's expression, Hancock showed a triumphant smile. But if you answer a few questions from me, I can take you directly to the headquarters as a Shichibukai and then help you rescue Ace. Luffy's eyes suddenly lit up. Really? Okay, Aunt, please tell me quickly. I will definitely answer you if I know. Hearing this, Hancock quickly took out the notes he had prepared in advance. Open the first page. Master Su Ming's eating habits. Master Su Ming's favorite color. Mr. Su Ming's hobbies. Hancock blushed slightly. Hurry, fill in these questions carefully so that I can take you to save your brother. Time flies, and Ace's execution date has arrived. At the naval headquarters, all the generals above the vice admiral level gathered in the conference room. They all looked solemn but did not say a word. Sengoku sat at the head of the group. It will be the execution time of Pirates Portgas d'Ace soon. As a crew member of the Whitebeard pirates ship, Whitebeard will definitely not sit idly by and watch. Today, we must prepare for a decisive battle with one of the 4 emperors. This will be a fierce battle, and I hope everyone will be mentally prepared. No one spoke, and their eyes turned to Su Ming intentionally or unintentionally. What you are afraid of is a decisive battle with Whitebeard. Marine's strength has improved tremendously in recent years. The equipment on hand has been updated several times. If a 4 emperors group breaks in alone, it would be tantamount to giving up. Even if the Pirates King Roger crawled out of the coffin, he would be captured again when he arrived at the current headquarters. But that's not the problem. What everyone is worried about is the 5 elders man who is sitting next to you doing your nails. Advertisement Ace is our relative, and all of us here still have to depend on him for our salary in the second half of the year. You have executed someone's nephew. For the second half of the year, we will all have to work as fishermen and catch seafood to fill our stomachs. Seeing that no one said anything, Sengoku glanced at Su Ming. When he found out that Su Ming was still slacking off while doing his nails, he got so angry that his blood pressure soared. Lousy is the Marine Marshal, not the babysitter for you and that old man Garp. If you don't speak up, I will quit my job. Damn, I, Sengoku, have been a soldier all my life, and everyone in the whole ocean who sees me has to respectfully call me the resourceful general. How could I have been so stupid as to misjudge you and summon this cancer into the Marine, ruining my reputation in an instant? Before I became a 5 elder, I could still lose my temper to some extent. Now that I'm one of the 5 elders, I have to act according to the boy's mood. He nominally holds the title of Marshal, but now when he wants to issue an order to the Marine, it cannot be passed on without this guy's nod. There's nothing wrong with just this. Sengoku is not someone who is reluctant to give up power. After all, Su Ming is still his junior. If the junior can take the lead, then he can just step down. But this is what's so hateful about Su Ming. He enjoys the rights of a Marine while making himself fulfill the obligations of a Marine. A dignified Marine Marshal forced this kid to pua and become his assistant. Seeing that Sengoku was showing signs of an explosion, Su Ming couldn't continue to slack off and spoke up. The primary purpose of this mission is to destroy the Whitebeard pirates. As for Ace, I will escort him personally to ensure that nothing unexpected happens along the way. After Su Ming finished speaking, everyone in the office looked at each other and suddenly became excited. Damn, boss, why didn't you tell me earlier? The stone in my heart was relieved and the atmosphere changed suddenly. Humph. How dare a mere Whitebeard trespass into the naval headquarters? This time, I will make sure he never returns. I will lead the charge. The Marine executives in the conference room seem to be suddenly energized. Everyone here is your family, and everyone here knows that Ace is your relative. The guys were silent just now. Are they afraid of Whitebeard? It's all because they are afraid of you, the big boss. If you really execute Ace, who will be able to bear the consequences when you come back to collect the retribution? Now that Su Ming has said so, he will escort Ace personally to avoid any accidents. There is no need to think about it, this accident is bound to happen. The rest depends on everyone's acting skills. As for Whitebeard, it is the Marine's duty to eliminate the pirates. Of course, relatives of leaders are not included. The Gate of Justice. Magellan and Ace had been waiting for a long time. A dragon-headed warship appeared on the sea and was in front of us in a moment. Su Ming walked down from the deck slowly, Thunder Admiral. Impel down and everyone saluted. Su Ming nodded. Well, you have worked hard, leave it to me next. After taking Ace, Su Ming did not continue to give Ace privileges, but took Ace to the cell alone. Ace said nothing along the way. Su Ming, who was walking in front, suddenly spoke. I think old man Garp has seen you for a while now, and he should have told you a lot of things he should and shouldn't have said. Ace. Whitebeard has learned of your execution, he will come to rescue you. Advertisement. Ace, who was following behind him, clenched his fists. Marine has already set up the trap. I am the bait in the trap. Marine has always claimed to be righteous, can this be considered righteous? Ace looked up, the anger in his eyes undisguised. Garp has already told him about Su Ming's plan. Ace knew his uncle's strength very well. Even if his father was at his peak, he might not be able to defeat him. What's more, my father's health has been deteriorating in recent years. If you really come to naval headquarters to save yourself, there is only one ending. In Ace's heart, the Whitebeard pirates have long been like a family, just like Su Ming and Garp. Now that his family members are fighting each other because of him, Ace feels as if his heart is being cut by a knife. Su Ming suddenly stopped and stopped moving forward. Ace looked up and pleaded with tears on his face. Uncle, I beg you, just execute me, don't let Dad come. I am a pirate, I am guilty of heinous crimes, I am willing to be punished, but please don't implicate Dad. Ace only hopes to sacrifice himself in exchange for the safety of the Whitebeard pirates. Su Ming stopped and sighed after a moment. Ace, I suddenly feel that it was a wrong decision to let you stay with the Whitebeard pirates. The Whitebeard pirates is an ideal place. They have the protection of a world-class warrior and live in harmony with the world. Do you think the sea is as peaceful as the one on Whitebeard's ship? Ace was stunned, not quite understanding what Su Ming meant. Su Ming did not explain and continued. It's only a matter of time before the Whitebeard pirates are destroyed. This has nothing to do with you. Your existence only determines the time at which this happens. Ace asked angrily, why? I've been with my dad for all these years, and I know exactly what the Whitebeard pirates are like. They never robbed civilians, but protected many islands and countries in the New World. We do better than the world government, Dad, he shouldn't be executed. Bang! Su Ming turned around suddenly and slapped Ace in the face. The air suddenly became quiet. Su Ming's cold voice came again. That's why he deserves to be executed. Do you know how many people became pirates because of him? How many people do not think about working, but only want to go to sea and take risks, leaving their wives and children behind? How many people have assumed the name of pirates, lost their restraints from the law, and become demons who commit murder, looting and all kinds of evil? His existence is like a flag. He may not have done anything evil, but as long as he exists, he will continue to breed evil. This is the case since he was given the name pirates. The fate of the pirates is to be executed. It has nothing to do with good or evil. Ace's eyes widened and he covered his face, unable to argue for a moment. He had never thought about the things Su Ming said, but they were objective facts. Because over the years on the Whitebeard pirates ship, he has also seen many guys who wanted to join his father's team. Most of these pirates are people who commit murder, looting and other evil deeds. Dad didn't accept them, but it is undeniable that these people basically went to sea because of the legend of Dad and Roger. Over the years, big pirates like Whitebeard have not been wiped out by the world government, which gives the pirates who have just set out to sea a sense of confidence and luck. Seeing that Ace didn't say anything, Su Ming's tone softened a bit. Now we should talk about your problem. Do you want to live, or do you want to die on the execution platform? It's still the same as when you first went out to sea. I won't interfere with your choice, I'll just give you the right to choose. Chapter 252. Why is the version you told different from the one I heard? Ace was on his knees, tear stains on his face and a confused look in his eyes. Su Ming said calmly. 2 choices. Give up your own identity, and I will arrange a new identity for you. From now on, no matter what happens to Roger or Whitebeard, it will have nothing to do with you. Ace lowered his head upon hearing this, biting his lip, with a strong look of resentment in his eyes. Su Ming looked at Ace and saw disappointment in his eyes. This choice was given to Ace when he went to sea, but Ace was unwilling to choose a new identity at first. Even now, this guy is still so stubborn and doesn't understand the principle of giving in when necessary. Su Ming sighed in his heart. Young people are just too stubborn. If I were to switch identities with Ace and have the choice, I would definitely give up my identity without hesitation. If you hesitate for a second, you lose. When you have the strength to fight against the forces that are against you, you can change it back. There is absolutely no need to risk your life for the so-called status. This kid Ace really didn't learn anything from his uncle. After this incident, this kid must be given some special training. This social skills require practice. Put Ace and Impel down, and let Whitebeard know the news to save the boy. In addition to the 5 elders, Su Ming also wanted to make these useless juniors face reality. These guys have been living too carefree on the sea in recent years. But this is not because of their strong strength, but because of his background. Su Ming's status and position are there. Even if he doesn't say it, people who know about it will still give these guys the green light. This also made these guys lose their proper respect for the sea. This time, I must let these guys know how weak their insignificant strength is in front of the real top powerhouses. How ridiculous your so-called persistence is when you don't have the strength. Thinking of this, Su Ming's tone turned cold. Well, since you don't want the first option, there is a second option. Died in this battle with the Whitebeard pirates. Ace clenched his fists, his nails dug into his palms, and blood flowed down between his fingers. I am willing to be executed. After getting Ace's reply, Su Ming didn't continue. It's useless to say anything to this kid now. Let's go, it's time for execution. The door at the end of the corridor was pushed open by Su Ming. Advertisement array of light pierced the darkness. However, in Ace's eyes, this light did not bring hope. Thunder Admiral. A Marine saw Su Ming appear and hurriedly stepped forward and saluted. Su Ming nodded. This is the prisoner Ace. Take him to the execution platform. This is. The soldier hesitated for a moment, and when he saw that Su Ming didn't seem to be joking, he responded. Taking the rope, the soldier led Ace to the execution platform. Su Ming stood there, looking at Ace's trembling body, shaking his head and closing his eyes. A familiar voice suddenly sounded behind me. The boy still disagrees? At some point, Garp came behind Su Ming. Have all the prisoners I want been brought here? Su Ming did not answer Garp's question but asked instead. Garp nodded. What do you need so many prisoners with devil fruit abilities for? Su Ming smiled slightly. Of course it works. Okay, everyone is here. Let's not just stand here stupidly. Today is a lively day. I've received news that your wonderful grandson Luffy is here too. Garp was shocked. What? How dare that kid come here? Su Ming rolled his eyes. Hancock brought it. You're so surprised. You don't even know what kind of person Luffy is. He's just like you. I'd find it strange if he didn't come. The 5 elders who were involved in the execution are back too. Be careful when you let them go. Garp's face flashed with embarrassment, but he still said stubbornly. What nonsense are you talking about, brat? I am a righteous Marine and I will never tolerate evil. Su Ming turned and looked at Garp without saying a word. Under Su Ming's undisguised suspicious gaze, even Garp's old face couldn't help but turn red. Damn it, are you questioning me? Su Ming rolled his eyes. Yes, you have devoted your life to the Marines and have always been committed to the pursuit of justice. In his later years, he worked tirelessly to train outstanding juniors and provide talents for various fields. His students are all over the world. Advertisement. It's all over the world now that anything produced by Garp must be a top-notch product. I absolutely agree 100% with that. Su Ming said this without giving Garp time to react, and turned to walk towards the execution square. Humph, you are a good talker. Garp thought the first half of Su Ming's sentence made sense, but when he heard the second half, it seemed a little off. Wait a minute. Brat, come back here and tell me what you mean by supplying talents to various fields. This guy is mocking that the younger generations he trained are either pirates or Revolutionary Army. What qualifications do you have to say such things? My biggest mistake was discovering you. Garp reacted and was so angry that he jumped up and down. Unfortunately, Su Ming, who had already walked far away, didn't hear it at all. Execution Square. Su Ming looked at the scene at the execution square. In the center of the open space, there is a wooden platform that seems to be sent into the clouds. Just like when Roger was executed, it seems that only in this way can the execution of criminals be more deterrent. Around the square, all the Shichibukai, who were still under the jurisdiction of the world government, had arrived. Fu. Looking at the scene, the Marines are serious this time. I'm afraid 4 Emperors Whitebeard will have to die here. Doflamingo, wearing a suit, looked at the densely packed Marines in the square with a strange smile. At the side, Moonlight Mariah turned his head to look at Doflamingo and said with a little dissatisfaction, You don't even need to say that. The boss is here in person. Whitebeard is destined to fall here today. Instead of talking nonsense, you might as well think about how to save the boss's nephew reasonably. Gecko Moria's words were full of thorns. Doflamingo just chuckled when he heard it. Gecko Moria, I know what you're thinking. Want your boss to promote you to Celestial Dragons as well. As a senior, I can give you a few words of advice. If you want your boss to reward you, you must first let him see your value. You know 4 Emperors Kaido, right? I fought against 4 Emperors Kaido for my boss. That scene was so shocking. Look at you again. The boss recruited you as an ordinary Shichibukai, and you were beaten into submission. Tisk. Gecko Moria's face turned pale and blue, but before he could get angry, the bear who had been holding the book and not saying anything spoke up. Dover, why is your version different from what I heard? I heard that you were beaten up by Kaido and had no choice but to join the boss's team. You must have remembered it wrongly. The bear looked honest and asked for advice. Doflamingo's face, which was smug a second ago, suddenly turned the color of liver. You be ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** 253 An Act of Justice Execution Square, on the high platform. Under the gaze of all the Marines, Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji walked forward and sat down. When the three admirals appeared, the atmosphere in the square suddenly changed. It's the admiral. The headquarters actually dispatched 3 admirals at once. The appearance of Marine Admiral was like a reassurance to all the Marines, and the tension and worry on their faces subsided a lot. And just at this moment, at a higher level than the 3 admirals, Sengoku walked onto the stage in a marshal's uniform. Sengoku's sharp eyes swept across the square, then looked at the empty sea ahead. There was less than an hour left until Ace's execution, but there was no sign of the Whitebeard pirates on the sea. Although Sengoku had deployed troops to guard every entrance to the headquarters, he never thought that this would be able to stop Whitebeard. The reason for doing this is to get the direction of the enemy's attack as soon as possible. But now, Sengoku is a little worried. Will Whitebeard not come? Marine has made a big show today. If Whitebeard hadn't come, it would have been difficult to end. Even Su Ming couldn't rescue Ace openly with so many people watching. Sengoku was thinking when suddenly the water surface of the harbor surged. The next second, a huge warship like a white whale broke through the water and appeared in front of everyone. Gulala, Ace, Daddy's here to save you. Whitebeard's wild laughter echoed in the execution square. The unexpected appearance startled Marine, who was already prepared. Whitebeard, this guy really dares to come, coming out from underwater? It's a coating? Get ready for battle. The Marines hurriedly changed direction. On the platform, Sengoku breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing this. Then he quickly frowned, picked up the loudspeaker and shouted. All Marines, destroy the pirates. The Marines who had been lying in wait for a long time began to attack at Sengoku's command. The crew members of the Whitebeard pirates also jumped off the deck and fought with the Marines. Whitebeard held a naginata in his hand, his eyes swept across the execution platform and finally fell on Sengoku and the three admirals. The pressure from both sides collided and the air became scorching for a moment. Whitebeard suddenly snorted coldly, his arm muscles bulged and veins throbbed. A ball of milky white light appeared in the left hand, which was the ability of the shock fruit. Ace, Daddy's here to save you. Advertisement. Sengoku's pupils shrank. Before he could stop it, Whitebeard punched him in the side. Although there was clearly nothing in the place, everyone present clearly heard a sound like glass breaking. Then, cracks began to spread outward with Whitebeard's fist as the center. The area where the crack spread seemed to be divided and shattered. Oh no, it's Whitebeard's fruit ability. Everyone be careful, it's a tsunami. The force of the shock created a tsunami thousands of meters high on the sea surface. The seawater swept in with a force of tens of thousands of tons. The naval headquarters was about to be engulfed by the tsunami. Some Marines with weak minds even showed a hint of despair in their eyes. Well, this is really troublesome. Aokiji, who was sitting in the admiral position, suddenly appeared in midair. Ice Age. The biting cold air was absorbed into the water through the fingertips. The vast sea water froze into solid ice at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, the waves and the endless sea behind them were all frozen and turned into land. At the execution ground, both the pirates and the Marines opened their mouths wide at the scene before them. This is the strength of a top-notch expert. Whitebeard, who has been famous for a long time, has rarely taken action in recent years. Therefore, even among the Whitebeard pirates, many new members have never seen Whitebeard's true strength. But today, when seeing the scene before them, everyone suddenly realized that this world is not as simple as they thought. The power of the devil fruit can actually be developed to this extent. Every move has terrifying destructive power. The force of one punch caused a tsunami and froze the sea in the blink of an eye. This is no longer human error, but a natural disaster. In the dark, Blackbeard, who had already rushed over and was hiding in the dark waiting for an opportunity, had greed in his eyes. Shock fruit, I must get this fruit. Behind him, Poison Q whispered. Captain, Whitebeard is so strong, can we really get close? Blackbeard turned around and glanced at Poison Q with eyes full of vigilance. Damn it, ever since a 50 billion bounty was put on me, everyone looks like a bounty hunter. He didn't even trust the poisonous Q who followed him the earliest. After all, when impelled down, the men he recruited, Xuanyue Hunter, King of Evil Government, Daju, and even the old crew member Badgers who was rescued by him, each of them secretly stabbed him. Advertisement. These guys thought they didn't know, but Blackbeard remembered it very clearly. Just for his own ambition, Blackbeard decided to keep the matter to himself. Blackbeard could no longer trust these people. Blackbeard would never let these people get involved in such an important matter as seizing the shock fruit. Shiryu, Crocodile, come with me and help me. Of all his subordinates now, the only two Blackbeard can trust are these two who didn't stab him in the back when he was in danger. Red Lotus Bite Dog. As he spoke, Akainu could no longer hold back and rushed towards Whitebeard on the deck. Right from the start, Akainu put in all his effort. Kizaru shook his head when he saw this. Inside the digging, Admiral Akainu's personality is still as fiery as ever. When it comes to acting, Akainu really has no talent. What kind of good person would throw out a royal flush right at the start of a card game? But Kizaru could understand Akainu's overreaction. After all, Akainu had been feeling very uncomfortable staying at the headquarters these years. Now that he finally found someone like Whitebeard who he could vent his anger on, he naturally didn't want to let him go. However, ideals are full, but reality is a bit skinny. Facing Akainu who was rushing towards him aggressively, Whitebeard was stunned for a moment, then punched Akainu head-on with a shock fruit combined with hockey. In everyone's eyes, Akainu Admiral, who was so aggressive the last second, was like a balloon, and the person who was hit was distorted. Many colleagues couldn't bear it and closed their eyes when they saw this. Su Ming, who was watching from afar, shook his head. This young man. No matter what, Whitebeard has the title of the strongest man in the world. Why do you want to challenge him to a duel? This is about arresting a criminal, not a one-on-one duel. Call Aokiji and Kizaru to fight him side by side. It's not shameful. That's great. I almost got hammered into a hand model. Beside him, Garp looked at Su Ming with a strange expression. Do you think everyone is as shameless as you? Yes, I forgot that you called Aokiji, Kizaru and the others when you fought Whitebeard. Upon hearing this, Su Ming quickly gestured to stop. Can I say I have no limits? It was Whitebeard who asked me to call for help. Besides, I'm a Marine. Can I call some people to arrest pirates and call them shameless? No matter how you think about it, this is a just act. You old man, you need to improve your ideological awareness. Chapter 254. The battle escalates, muddying the battlefield. Garp was speechless after being scolded by Su Ming. This brat has always been able to make excuses. Garp was thinking about whether he should also fight Whitebeard. After all, these are pirates of his generation, and he also wants to reminisce the feeling of sailing on the sea. However, at this moment, Ace, I'm here to save you. A familiar voice echoed throughout the square. It also got into Garp's ears. Garp, who was about to cause trouble for Whitebeard, froze in place. Looking in the direction of the voice, Garp's pupils shrank. The short white hair on his head stood up in anger. The marine cloak on his shoulders fluttered constantly. **hole. Is this kid an idiot? Although he already knew from Su Ming that his good-for-nothing grandson Luffy had arrived. But Garp felt that no matter how stupid Luffy was, seeing so many powerful pirates and marines, he should secretly wait for an opportunity to rescue Ace. If you turn a blind eye at that time and catch them by surprise, you may be able to rescue them. As a result, this kid turned his whole attention to me. All the special cats are looking at you, how can I cooperate with you? At this moment, Garp really wanted to pry open Luffy's head to see if there was anything fleshy inside. It really doesn't turn at all. Su Ming, who was standing by, seemed to have anticipated Luffy's behavior and patted Garp on the shoulder. Think positively, Luffy's personality isn't all bad. Garp was stunned. With Luffy's stupid personality, could there be any merits? Su Ming looked at Garp and smiled slightly. At least it proves that this is definitely Monkey's biological child. Garp. Get lost. I'm a very smart guy, but when did I become as stupid as this kid? Every time Sengoku hides snacks, I can find them right away. This is enough to prove that when it comes to strategy, I am much better than Sengoku. If I had not been unwilling to be promoted to Admiral, the title of the resourceful general should have been mine. Su Ming looked at Garp with strange eyes. He really didn't expect that old man Garp had such a high opinion of him. You old man can always find Sengoku snacks. Is that because of your brain? That's clearly thanks to your nose. In this regard, Luffy is the perfect successor. You can smell the aroma of meat from miles away. However, after hearing Garp's evaluation of himself, Su Ming was too lazy to say more. There's obviously no point in arguing with this narcissistic old man. More importantly, Su Ming felt 4 familiar auras. Su Ming looked up and found that the 4-5 elders who had always been at odds with Su Ming were already standing on the platform. They were now looking down at him with a bit of provocation in their eyes. Su Ming's smile faded and he shook his wrist. The show is about to begin. Old man, go stop Luffy and I'll take care of those old guys. When Garp heard that Su Ming had to stop 4-5 elders by himself, a worried look appeared on his face. Don't be so stubborn. I'm not going to do this marine anymore. Let's attack together. Su Ming was a little surprised. That's not something an old man like Garp would say. This old guy values marine more than his own life. Noticing Su Ming's gaze, Garp's face turned red. What are you looking at, little brat? I have cultivated a cancer like you. I have no face to stay in the marine. It's just that I haven't had the right opportunity. Besides, I was only rebelling against the world government by attacking those old guys, not against the marines. I never said I worked for the world government. Su Ming smiled. This old man is so old, but he has become so arrogant. Advertisement, okay, whatever you say makes sense, but you don't have to do it today. I have ways to deal with these 4 old guys. After Su Ming finished speaking, without waiting for Garp to say anything else, a flash of lightning appeared in his eyes. The next second, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky and landed next to the 5 elders on the platform. The flash of lightning immediately attracted the attention of all the pirates and marines. When everyone saw the 5 figures standing on the platform, their breath was held. That's 5 elders, even the 5 elders are here. Many of the pirates who came with the Whitebeard pirates showed panic in their eyes and began to retreat. The 5 elders, the supreme commander of the world government, whose strength is even more of a mystery. But in everyone's perception, he is definitely the top powerful person on the sea. The sudden joining of these 5 powerful men into the battle would undoubtedly tip the balance of victory in an instant. Seeing people's hearts begin to change, Whitebeard shouted angrily. Charge Lousy. Save Ace. Even if he's the 5 elders, Lousy is Whitebeard. In the square, pirates and marines fought again. Su Ming and the 4-5 elders saw all of this. The curly-haired 5 elders gloated. Su Ming, it looks like you can't save this Ace. The 5 elders are personally supervising the battle, and even if they don't take action, the marines' momentum will be greatly increased. What's more, any one of these 5 high-end fighters can compete with Whitebeard. This invisibly put another layer of pressure on the Whitebeard pirates. Ace's execution is basically a foregone conclusion. However, facing the provocation of the curly-haired 5 elders, Su Ming just smiled and said nothing. It is impossible to rescue Ace by relying solely on the Whitebeard pirates. Only by muddying the water will you have a chance. Now is not a good time for me to take action. Time passes little by little. Under the siege of 3 admirals, Whitebeard began to lose the upper hand. Even though Aokiji and Kizaru slacked off from time to time, Whitebeard's aging body had reached its limit. Sengoku, who was on the podium, felt a little panicked when he saw the situation. Damn it, old buddy, don't fall down, Ace hasn't been rescued yet. Sengoku knew very well that if Ace was really executed, Garp and Su Ming would definitely do it personally. At that time, the Marines following Garp and Su Ming will also change their stance immediately. Sengoku, who appeared calm on the outside, clenched his fists tightly. The Marine guards around him thought Sengoku was suppressing his anger. Little did he know that at this moment, Sengoku's palms were already sweating. On the battlefield, MVP Akainu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth in a somewhat embarrassed manner. Whitebeard, your strange end has come. Whitebeard in front of him was covered in wounds, with large areas of burns on his abdomen and chest. Blood kept gushing out from the corners of his mouth, and it was obvious that his internal organs had also suffered a certain degree of damage. But even so, the man still held the naginata in one hand and looked towards the execution platform with a determined gaze. Ace, who was being held, was already in tears. Dad, leave me alone, go away. Ace yelled desperately. Whitebeard, who had a serious expression on his face, suddenly burst into laughter. Goo-ha-ha-ha-ha, lousy is Whitebeard, he won't be defeated so easily. Whitebeard exerted force with his left hand, thrust the naginata in his hand deeply into the ground, and his aura suddenly surged. Not good, retreat quickly. Akainu realized something, his pupils shrank, and he screamed and quickly stepped back. Just a moment ago, he saw determination in Whitebeard's eyes. That's the look a person would have when they are about to die. And this look is often accompanied by a fatal blow before death. The facts turned out to be just as Akainu expected. Advertisement a terrifying aura erupted from Whitebeard, whose vital signs had begun to decline. Like a volcano that had been accumulating for a long time, the black lightning generated by conquerors gathered in the void. Haki tore through the clouds, and the frozen sea surface began to break into pieces. A ball of milky white light covered Whitebeard's fist. Dad. On the execution platform, Ace realized what Whitebeard was going to do. Whitebeard was going to use his last bit of strength to directly destroy the entire naval headquarters and let everyone fall into the sea, so as to give Ace and the Whitebeard pirates a chance to survive. But after this attack, Whitebeard will completely lose his combat effectiveness and be at the mercy of others. Teach, who had been hiding in the dark, saw this and his eyes showed excitement. The opportunity has come. Evil Wolf, you are going to salvage Whitebeard's body. Shiryu, Crocodile, get ready to act. As Blackbeard gave the order, a terrifying wolf popped its head out of the water. Everyone in the square only felt a dark shadow looming over their heads. Standing next to the naval headquarters building, the wolf is actually a head taller than the headquarters building. The naval headquarters building is more than 150 meters high. The sudden change left the marine pirates unable to react for a while. On the high platform, Su Ming's eyes lit up. How dare you disrupt the execution? Susanoo. Without waiting for the 4 or 5 elders beside him to react, Su Ming roared and disappeared in an instant. Immediately afterwards, thunder exploded in the sky, and a huge green figure, no less powerful than a wolf, suddenly fell from the sky accompanied by flashes of lightning, like a god descending to the earth. The wolf had just stuck his head out of the water and had not yet reacted when he felt someone grabbing his ankle. Immediately afterwards, an unforgettable scene occurred in the execution square. Su Ming summoned Susanoo, who grabbed the wolf as if it were a sandbag and started swinging it around and hitting it wildly. Every impact caused the ground to shake violently. The earth shattered and cracks spread rapidly. Whitebeard, who was about to fight to the death, stumbled and fell to the ground. When he looked up again, in the blink of an eye, the naval headquarters had become a ruin due to the battle between the two giants, Su Ming and the evil wolf. Well, to be more precise, it was turned into a ruin by the impact of the evil wolf. The execution platform holding Ace also collapsed into chaos. Ace was nowhere to be seen. The pirates and marines fighting in the square stopped what they were doing unconsciously. How come the battle was going so well, but suddenly broke through? Faced with the terrifying size of Su Ming and the wolf, the weak pirates and marines began to flee. Run quickly, if you get hit you'll be dead. There was chaos in the square. The 5 elders on the platform were watching this scene and were so angry that they kept gasping for breath. Damn it. I was on high alert but I didn't expect this kid to have such a trick. He wants to muddy up the battlefield and rescue Ace. Hurry up and find Ace. We can't let him get away like this. An inconspicuous corner of the battlefield. A flash of lightning flashed. Enel suddenly appeared carrying Ace. Ace looked confused. At that moment, seeing the huge body of the wolf crashing towards him, he really thought he was dead. Phew, what a jerk the boss is. He's so cruel even though he knew I wanted to save you. Luckily I was quick, or we would both have been turned into meat patties, Enel complained. Okay, no more nonsense, the boss told you to change into this marine uniform. The boss has given me other instructions, so I won't be with you anymore. After saying that, Enel disappeared in a flash of lightning, and judging from the direction he was heading, he entered the center of the battlefield again. Ace didn't react for a moment. Am I rescued? He looked at the clothes in his hands again. My uncle, you can't be asking me to be a marine in the future, right? Chapter 255 Su Ming's new weapon. The execution square was filled with smoke and dust, and broken stones and tiles were everywhere. In the dark, Blackbeard looked at the giant in the smoke and dust, his body trembling. He couldn't help swallowing and suppressing the fear in his heart. The wolf is definitely very powerful, and even a dozen elite vice admirals joining forces may not be his match. Coupled with its size of over 100 meters, its ability to withstand blows and destructive power are comparable to that of Admiral. Blackbeard had always considered him as his trump card. However, this was the first time this trump card was used and the scene was like this. The Susanoo summoned by Su Ming was a head taller than the wolf. Coupled with the armor made of lightning, his whole body is full of explosive power, which is intimidating at first sight. Standing in front of Susanoo, the huge wolf suddenly lost all sense of oppression. The fight had been going on for nearly half an hour, and the wolf had been in Su Ming Susanoo's hands for nearly half an hour. His fat was almost gone. The huge wolf never thought that one day he would become so agile. Poison Q looked at the wolf flying in the air and asked fearfully, "Captain, are we still going?" Although Whitebeard was seriously injured and exhausted, he was not dead. One of the trump cards, the wolf, was also used as a sandbag and was of no use at all. This doesn't look like something that can be done in a small way. Blackbeard gritted his teeth, his eyes full of resentment. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I have been waiting for. If you miss this opportunity, getting shock fruit again will probably be harder than climbing to the sky. For the dark fruit, he has been hiding on Whitebeard's ship for 20 years. Do we have to hide shock fruit for another 20 years? I'm almost 40 now. If I hide for another 20 years, damn, I'm already halfway through my life and there's no point in going out to sea. Some worldly desires are long gone. Thinking of this, the hesitation in Blackbeard's eyes completely disappeared. Let's fight. Watch my instructions and kill Whitebeard. Blackbeard had just finished speaking. A voice rang out on the battlefield. Immediately afterwards, the temperature in the air began to rise, and a fiery cloud appeared in the sky. Everyone looked up curiously, and saw magma balls like cannonballs swooping down from the clouds. Meteor volcano. Akainu's cold voice rang out in the smoke. Whitebeard frowned. Ace has been rescued and his goal has been achieved, but now he is entangled by Akainu and cannot escape. A difficult little devil, sons, get on board. Upon hearing this, all the crew members of the Whitebeard pirates frowned. Right now the crew is still fighting with the Marines. If they withdraw, who will resist these Marines? Phoenix Marco immediately guessed Whitebeard's plan. Dad, you lead everyone away, I'll be the last one to leave. Advertisement, don't talk nonsense, just follow Lousy's instructions. The moment he made the decision to move to Naval Headquarters, Whitebeard knew he was destined to stay here. He was very aware of Marine's strength. It was already difficult for me, who was already old, to deal with the 3 admirals, not to mention that brat Su Ming. But I can stay, but all my crew members must leave safely. This is a father's responsibility. After hearing Whitebeard's rebuke, the Whitebeard pirates fell into a rare silence, resisting Whitebeard's orders with silent words. A bunch of brats. Seeing this, Whitebeard snorted, but he felt warm in his heart. Although he is a pirate, he has never had any ambitions, and having a family is all he wants. Now it seems that the wish has been fulfilled. However, he couldn't let these guys die here with him. Whitebeard slammed the handle of his knife onto the ground, his momentum surged again, and the power of the shock fruit continued to compress and condense in his left hand. Gulala. You little brats, don't forget that Lousy is Whitebeard. It's not your turn to protect Lousy yet. Marco, get everyone aboard. Marco, who was entangled with several elite marines, forced back several vice admirals with one claw. Looking at Whitebeard's determined expression, Marco gritted his teeth after hesitating for a moment. Listen to Dad. Retreat. Marco still has some prestige in the Whitebeard pirates. With him in the lead, the pirates began to leave the battle circle and retreat back to the big ship. In the blink of an eye, all the crew members of the Whitebeard pirates were on deck, and only Whitebeard was left on the ice. Whitebeard stood alone in front of the boat, his back looking somewhat sad. Dad, come up quickly, Marco shouted loudly at Whitebeard. Whitebeard remained unmoved. Want to leave? Dream on, great eruption? Get out of here, Lousy. Akainu wanted to wipe out the Whitebeard pirates in one fell swoop. However, Whitebeard used an airshock to stop all the magma. Whitebeard was seen placing one hand on the bow of the ship, with veins bulging on his arm. Little ones, I have seen and traveled through the sea before. The rest is up to you. It's time for me to get off the boat now. After saying this, Whitebeard used all his strength. The large ship that had been frozen in the ice broke through the ice and went straight into the sea. Dad. Gulala. Lousy is a remnant of the old era. There's no ship in the new era that can carry me. After saying this, Whitebeard looked at Akainu again. Advertisement this time, without any worries, Whitebeard's eyes became completely determined. Come on, little lava devil, let me see your full strength. Before Whitebeard could finish his words, a shadow suddenly loomed over the two of them. The huge wind pressure blew away the smoke and dust. Look up. F*K. The wolf, which had already fainted, rushed towards the two of them like a mountain. And what's with that armed look on the wolf's face? The wolf has already fainted, so it is impossible for him to give himself the color of armed force. The only explanation is that Su Ming really used this evil wolf as a weapon and used it everywhere. Wow, it has armament hockey attached, and it takes great care of maintenance. Akainu and Whitebeard, who were originally preparing to fight, reacted and retreated hastily without caring about anything else. Bump. The wolf's huge figure hit the ground like a hill, separating Whitebeard and Akainu. Su Ming. Do you want to kill me? Akainu looked at Su Ming in midair and expressed his dissatisfaction crazily. In midair, Su Ming, who was standing inside Susanoo, shrugged. You don't know what's good for you. I'm helping you fight Whitebeard. Besides, you are also an admiral. It doesn't matter if you get hit by someone. Akainu. I have a good physical condition, so it's no big deal if I get hit by someone. After all, he didn't say a word even when Whitebeard hammered his hand into a model. But if you have no conscience, just ask yourself, is being hit by an ordinary person the same as being hit by this evil wolf? With this size, what's the difference between a cat like this and being hit by an island? And you even added armament hockey to this guy. Did I write, I was here, or something? You punish me like this. At this moment, the 4-5 elders on the platform saw that they could not find any trace of Ace, and finally decided not to sit there and wait for death. Catch Luffy. 4 figures suddenly leapt up from the platform. Su Ming raised his eyebrows and grabbed the hungry wolf's ankle again. Go. The wolf's huge body was like a racket. 4-5 elders are like a ping-pong ball. How quickly you come, how quickly you go back. Su Ming looked at them apologetically. I'm sorry, this guy is too big and hard to control, please stay away from me. 5 elders. You definitely did it on purpose. Chapter 256 Top Hockey. Su Ming. The curly-haired 5 elders tugged at the tie around his neck, his eyes sharpening. Seeing this, the other 3-5 elders also walked forward and looked at Su Ming coldly. Su Ming, what do you mean? We are trying to capture the pirates now. If you stand in our way, you will be an enemy of the world government. You are also a 5 elder. You should know the consequences of betraying the world government. The words of several 5 elders were full of threats. Betraying the world government is equivalent to betraying Yim, and they don't believe Su Ming dares to do that. Get out of the way immediately, this is our ultimatum. The fat 5 elders shouted loudly, and pressed their aura towards Su Ming. Feeling threatened by several people, Su Ming looked at them with a sneer. Then he lifted up the wolf, and armament hockey quickly spread along the wolf's ankles. In the blink of an eye, the unconscious wolf's body was completely covered by the pitch-black armament hockey. Being held by Su Ming with Susanoo was like a black baseball bat that was dozens of times wider. On the high platform, Sengoku looked at the evil wolf that was completely black and couldn't help swallowing. This kid is a monster. He can release so much of this top-level armament hockey at once, and he doesn't even look tired at all. You know, releasing hockey actually consumes physical strength. The stronger your stamina is, the more hockey you have in reserve. But even the top strong ones generally don't squander hockey because it consumes too much. Su Ming's actions could even be said to break common sense. Sengoku turned to look at Garp, who was also sighing. Garp, is it really okay for this kid to use hockey like this? His opponents are those old guys. If they really fight, it will be hard to tell who is better for a while. Hearing Sengoku's words, Garp chuckled, with a hint of pride and boasting in his eyes. Don't worry, even though this kid sometimes acts recklessly, he would never joke about a battle like this. To be honest, I can't even fathom this kid's physical fitness. When I first brought him to Marine, I thought his physical fitness was the same as Kaido and Charlotte Linlin. Now it seems that I underestimated this kid. I'm afraid Kaido and Big Mom's combined talents can't match this kid's. Su Ming had no idea what Garp and Sengoku were saying about him. If I knew, I would definitely correct them both. My current physical fitness is not comparable to Kaido and the Ant. In terms of physical strength alone, the two of them together are no match for him. Advertisement: the gift of extraordinary physique allows one's physical fitness to improve every day. Even Su Ming himself doesn't know the limit of his physical strength. In the past, in the entire Marine, if we only talk about hockey, Garp is second, and no one dares to say that they're first. But today, Su Ming proved in front of everyone who is the best in Marine physical training. This kid has already gained this much strength without even realizing it, even I can't see his back. For a moment, Garp felt a little disappointed, but soon, he calmed down. No matter what, Su Ming is still his disciple. If his disciple is strong, it will be an honor for him as his teacher. But relying solely on top-level armament hockey may not be enough to stop these old guys, even if their physical strength is bottomless. As he thought about it, Garp's brows slowly furrowed. He unbuttoned his sleeves with one hand and rolled up his forearms, revealing muscular muscles that did not match his age. Looking at the 5 elders standing opposite Su Ming, Garp showed hostility in his eyes. However, just when everyone thought that Su Ming's trump card had ended there. In the void, dark lightning began to flash continuously. Looking at this familiar thunder, Garp paused. It's Conquerors. Holy shit. Can Conquerors be that strong? It's not that Garp has no vision. Conquerors, himself also Grand Master. But at this moment, the Conquerors displayed by Su Ming is no longer a question of strength or not. But it's outrageous. The black lightning emitted by this kid's Conquerors is actually thicker than a house. Moreover, the physical attack attached to this kid's Conqueror's hockey can actually rival the destruction of armament hockey. I saw the black lightning produced by Conquerors hitting the ground, just like real thunder, blasting out deep pits with a diameter of several meters. On the battlefield, Whitebeard looked at the terrifying hockey and suddenly laughed. Gulala. This kid actually hit it so deeply. The red-haired boy's hockey status is probably not good enough now. With Conqueror's armament hockey attached, the unconscious Garo has become a treasure comparable to the 12 supreme skills in Su Ming's hands. In the dark, Teach couldn't help swallowing his saliva, cold sweat dripping down his temples, and a bad premonition rose in his heart. Captain. Is the wolf going to be okay? Poison Q asked cautiously behind him. Looking at the wolf covered in hockey, the Blackbeard pirates didn't know whether to envy or sympathize with it. Envious. This guy, evil wolf, can actually become a weapon in the hands of a top powerhouse like Su Ming, and feel the world's top power up close. Pity? Advertisement he was actually treated as a weapon? Or is it the kind of cold weapon that you hold in your hand and swivel? Even if armament hockey was attached to it, it was a fight between two top-notch warriors, who could guarantee that it wouldn't be damaged. Teach continued to calm his breathing and did not respond to Dooku's words. Mainly, he didn't know how to answer. It is not certain whether the wolf will be seriously injured, but according to Su Ming's usage, its remaining IQ will definitely be reduced to 0. In the center of the battlefield, Su Ming controlled Susanoo, and with his wings spread, a hurricane swept across the entire battlefield. The mountain-like figure swooped up at an extremely fast speed, and its huge figure overwhelmed the 5 elders in front of it. Looking at the 4 tiny 5 elders, Su Ming showed an unkind smile on his face. Excuse me, everyone. This pirate is too arrogant. I have to teach him a lesson today. I'm sorry for affecting you guys. Please forgive me, it's all for Lord Yim. Su Ming had a wicked smile on his face, holding the wolf high in his hand, as if he was holding a peerless sword. Before the 5 elders could understand what Su Ming meant, the wolf's mountain-like body with armed color and conquerors had already slammed towards the 4 people. F***you. Su Ming, you definitely did this on purpose. It's not too late, we must tell Lord Yim. Looking at the emotionally broken 5 elders, Su Ming looked innocent. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a bit unreasonable. What am I, Su, doing now? Aren't I fighting against the pirates? When fighting on the battlefield, it is inevitable that there will be spillovers. If you are afraid of being spilled, why don't you stay away? Just as he finished speaking, the evil wolf in his hand suddenly trembled, and Su Ming's eyes fixed. F***k. You still dare to struggle. He swung the wolf in his hand with force again, and the violent wind was like a knife blade. Tear. The suits of the 4-5 elders at the center of the storm turned into pieces, revealing their plump white skin. The 4 old guys, all over 100 years old, blushed. Su Ming. You are so outrageous. The wanton humiliation made several people completely furious. Die. Without caring about anything else, the curly-haired 5 elders took action directly. The next second, a terrifying creature with 2 horns on its head, shaped like an evil ghost and with no name, appeared in the center of the battlefield. The bull-headed evil ghost is also tens of meters tall. In the past, this terrifying figure would have scared people away. However, with the comparison between Su Ming and the wolf's hundreds of meters tall figures, everyone felt that the 5 elders' strength was just that. Roar. With a roar like that of a wild bull, the curly-haired 5 elders' feet collapsed to the ground, and power exploded, causing the ground to crack instantly. The bull-headed demon's body was like a cannonball, with hockey gathered on the 2 horns on its head, rushing straight towards Su Ming in midair. Chapter 257 The End of the Old Era, Devil Fruit Lotto? Facing the 5 elders rushing towards him, Su Ming raised his eyebrows. The evil wolf in his hand was wrapped in black lightning and smashed down like a mace. A bolt of lightning struck like a divine force, colliding with the curly-haired 5 elders that were charging straight at them. The aftermath of the attack spread instantly. Black and white kept flashing and alternating, and the battlefield was so swaying that no one could open their eyes. How terrifying. What kind of power is this? The group of people who had never seen Conqueror's entanglement were shocked by the scene before them. On the sea, Kaido, who was rushing over from New World to give Blackbeard a make-up lesson, saw Su Ming's move through the Den Den Mushi broadcast and called him an expert. Isn't this his famous move, thundering 8 trigrams? However, the power of Su Ming's move was many times more terrifying than his own. Even Kaido, the original author, wanted to learn. Why is this move so much more powerful than mine? Hockey is part of the reason, but hockey alone cannot achieve this level of power. Is it a weapon problem? While pondering, Kaido looked at Jack, one of the 3 disasters. This guy has tusks, and after transforming, he has a trunk to grab, so he seems to be the most suitable candidate. Jack, who was concentrating on watching the video bug, suddenly shuddered and felt an inexplicable chill on his back. When he turned around, he found that Boss Kaido was looking at him and muttering something. Jack, who usually has a slow brain, suddenly had a bright moment. He guessed his boss's thoughts at the first moment, and a layer of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Wait, Governor, I don't think it's a weapon issue. Su Ming's hockey is powerful, but the most important thing is probably the strange giant he summoned. Look at the giant he transformed into. It's different from Zone's transformation or Logia's elemental edition. After hearing Jack's explanation, Kaido looked at the image in the video worm again and realized something was wrong. Just as Jack said, the giant summoned by Su Ming was very strange. It seemed like the ability of a fruit, but there was also an indescribable sense of awkwardness. Humph, I don't know how many cards this guy has hidden. Jack breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at the miserable state of the wolf in the video worm, whose afterimage was left by Su Ming, I felt a wave of fear. Good God, luckily I was alert, otherwise I would have to experience the feeling of being used as a weapon. I'm not afraid of anything else, but I'm afraid that my old ambassador will take advantage of it, which would be really troublesome. From now on, when I introduce myself as the Beast's Pirates Chief, I have to add the prefix of 12 Supreme Works. Meanwhile, at the Naval Headquarters Battlefield Center. In the blink of an eye, the curly-haired 5 elders had already fought with Su Ming for several rounds. Advertisement with the two of them at the center, the battlefield was completely destroyed. All the tall buildings disappeared. The square, which was already in ruins, was flattened to the ground by the aftermath of the two's attack. Looking at Su Ming, who still had a calm expression, the curly-haired five elders was so angry that his teeth itched. Su Ming. This kid is so damn abominable. Not only did he do things inappropriately, but the weapons he used were also so out of line. In the past few rounds of fighting, I suffered a lot of losses. But it wasn't Su Ming who was eating it, but it was the hateful weapon, the wolf, in his hand. In Su Ming's hands, the unconscious wolf would wake up for a moment from time to time. When being swung by Su Ming quickly, people will subconsciously swing their arms around, which also expands the attack surface. Moreover, this unconscious and random waving is very difficult to predict. They had just fought twice and I was not paying attention and was slapped twice by the wolf's huge palm. Su Ming, what do you mean, 2 against 1? Do you still have some dignity as a strong man? Faced with a scoundrel like Su Ming, the usually unruly five elders can only resort to moral kidnapping. However, he still underestimated Su Ming. This guy worked his way up from a marine soldier to someone of the same status as himself. When it comes to bottom line, Su Ming has never been afraid of anyone. Hearing what the curly-haired five elders said, Su Ming's face straightened and he spoke righteously. Brother, don't worry about your reputation. We are the righteous world government. When facing pirates, 2 against 1, the public will surely understand and support us. The 2 hits you made with your face on the pirate's palms just now were very effective. Look, this guy is not even struggling now. Quick, brother, while this guy hasn't reacted yet, hit him hard in the face twice. I'll cooperate with you. Su Ming's voice was not small. Whether it was the people present or those watching the broadcast through the video worm, they could hear it clearly. When the world leaders from all sides heard Su Ming's words, they were speechless for a moment. Can it be explained this way? Otherwise, he could be called the five elders. This sophistry directly defines his position and opens up the pattern. The curly-haired five elders were so angry when they heard Su Ming's words. Su Ming. What are you waiting for? The action has already begun, let's attack together. Advertisement. Hearing this, the remaining 3 five elders not far away looked at each other and rushed towards Su Ming. The battlefield became chaotic again. Facing the combined forces of 4 people, Su Ming did not dare to be careless anymore and responded with all his might. Marine Admirals Aokiji, Akainu, and Kizaru silently surrounded Whitebeard. What happened between Su Ming and the 5 elders was not something they could interfere with. But since Whitebeard, the great pirates, dared to come to the naval headquarters, he must stay here. Yashikani no Magatama, Red Lotus Bite Dog, Pheasant Mouth. Faced with the combined attack of 3 people, Whitebeard, who was about to swing his sword to resist, suddenly his face changed and he felt a sharp pain in his lungs. His already aging body, coupled with continuous battles, finally caused hidden injuries to break out. Although it was only a brief moment, Akainu caught it keenly. The next second, boiling magma penetrated his chest. Thick smoke with a burnt smell spread. Silence. Except for Su Ming and the 5 elders, everyone else fell silent at that moment. Whitebeard, a great pirate of the last era, a being on par with Roger, at this moment, is entering the countdown of his life. In the dark, Blackbeard, who had been hiding, laughed excitedly. The opportunity has finally come. Shiryu, Crocodile, be ready to help me block the view, so that no one else can see my secret. Shockfruit, a crucial step to reach the top. At the same time, Enel, who had already returned to the battlefield and hidden, threw away the half-eaten apple in his hand. Is he still dead? Just as the boss expected. Then I should take action. Enel waved to the marine behind him. Go and execute the 100 prisoners with devil fruit abilities that were brought in. The soldier nodded and carried out the order. Enel looked at the excited Blackbeard in the distance and was shocked. I never thought there would be someone who could possess 2 devil fruit abilities at the same time. It's a pity that the boss has been watching me. Whether you can draw the one you want from these 101 devil fruit abilities depends on your luck. Looking at Blackbeard watching from a distance, Enel shook his head with sympathy. A top-notch talented player might be ruined by his own boss. Chapter 258, Super Satellite Orbital Cannon activated. Phew, Akainu successfully inflicted a fatal wound to Whitebeard. He dared not stay in front of Whitebeard any longer and quickly retreated with his fists out. The dying counterattack of a top-notch warrior is no joke. Ready, Crocodile. Blackbeard Teach saw his chance and charged directly into the battlefield. Dark Cloak. A breath like a black cloth spread out from Teach's palm and covered Whitebeard's head. Rain, Shiryu and Crocodile glanced at Su Ming, who was fighting with the 5 elders in the air. Seeing that Su Ming did not make any statement, the 2 of them stood silently beside the black curtain, keeping a vigilant posture without any unnecessary movements. In midair, Su Ming waved the wolf to fend off the 5 elders while glancing at the dark scene out of the corner of his eye. The demise of Whitebeard also means that the war is nearing its end. Whitebeard has a large territory in his hands, and he has no intention of sharing such a big piece of cake with others, so he has to get rid of these old guys quickly. Su Ming narrowed his eyes and Susano swung his arms vigorously. A wolf as big as a mountain flew out of his hand, forcing the 4-5 elders to retreat. The 5 elders who were forced to retreat did not continue to attack Su Ming, but looked at Su Ming vigilantly. Su Ming smiled at the 4 people and said, I say, Whitebeard is already dead. If we continue to fight, it will be suspected that we are targeting me. It will be hard for you to explain to Lord Yimu if this happens. Don't forget our previous agreement. Ace lives or dies, each of us decides by our own means. Now it's clear that I'm the winner. The 4-5 elders' faces changed, and a trace of unwillingness flashed in their eyes. The few of them did have an agreement, but that was because they thought they would definitely win the bet. I didn't expect that Su Ming was so strong. Moreover, that reckless attack disrupted all the plans of several people. Now that several people have started fighting in front of everyone, it may not be so easy to end it. Moreover, after this incident, it would definitely be more difficult to seize such a good opportunity to target Su Ming again. Seeing that several people were unwilling to give up, Su Ming couldn't help but roll his eyes. These old guys won't cry until they see the coffin. Even now, he is still dreaming of getting rid of himself in one fell swoop. Not to mention that he still has some hidden cards that he hasn't used yet. Just looking at the strength I'm showing now, even if the 4 of them join forces, they won't be able to defeat me in a short time. But Su Ming didn't want to waste time with them any longer. With Whitebeard's death, the situation on the sea was changing, and Su Ming had more important things to do. Thinking of this, Su Ming looked at the 5 elders with a fierce look in his eyes. Susanoo's aura, surrounded by purple-black lightning, surged again. The terrifying pressure made several 5 elders change their expressions, and they took 2 steps back unconsciously. Su Ming was seen manipulating the hundreds-meter-long Susanoo and slowly pulling out the 40-meter-long sword from his waist. The blade was wrapped in black lightning, and anyone who saw it felt oppressed, as if someone was strangling them, making it extremely difficult to breathe. In the square, Marine Admiral, Sengoku, Garp, and 4-5 elders all felt a sense of danger. Advertisement. This guy actually hides such power, curly-haired 5 elders said hatefully, gritting his teeth. The powerful strength displayed by Su Ming has made him feel a real sense of crisis. Suddenly, Su Ming's eyes change. Heaven and earth divide disaster. Without any warning, Susanoo slashed out with her sword. A slashing blow spanned the sky and earth and swept across the sea. The frozen waves, the towering buildings, and even the islands dozens of miles away, were all chopped into pieces by the sword light. Careful. The 4-5 elders faced the sword light coming towards them and tried their best to resist, but they were constantly pushed back by the sword light. In the eyes of several people, the surrounding environment was stretched into long thin lines because of the fast speed. After a few breaths, the 4-5 elders finally stopped. Looking at the unfamiliar environment around them, the 4 of them felt a sense of fear. It was just a slash, and even though he blocked it, he was still blown away so far. The 4 of them had not seen such a powerful force for many years. The curly-haired 5 elders gritted his teeth, no longer concealing the murderous intent in his eyes. This guy's power has reached this level. We must kill him today no matter what, otherwise, we will be the ones to die after today. He was the leader of several actions against Su Ming. Su Ming might have taken Yim's existence into consideration and would not attack other 5 elders, but he was definitely determined to fight to the death with him. Now we must take advantage of the other 5 elders not to back down and join forces to kill Su Ming to eliminate the trouble forever. However, just as the curly-haired 5 elders finished speaking, Su Ming's voice suddenly rang out not far away. You think too much. If you don't use it anymore, you will die today. The 4-5 elders looked in the direction of the voice and saw that not far away, Su Ming had already withdrawn from the Susanoo state. Seeing this, several 5 elders were delighted. This kid's strength has reached its limit. Summoning a creature like that definitely consumes a lot of power. Humph, he is just a young man with little experience after all. As the curly-haired 5 elders spoke, his muscles began to bulge, and a breath like fire gathered on his horns. Su Ming, I have to admit that you were very strong just now. Fighting alone, none of us could defeat you. But now you are, just fish on the display board. Watching Su Ming recover, the curly-haired 5 elders felt that he had a sure win. Su Ming sneered. My limit? Exiting that state is just unnecessary. I say, old man, after so many times, don't you feel like a badass? I think the reason you always fail in your work may have something to do with your poisonous milk. The curly-haired 5 elders blushed. Su Ming's words were really embarrassing. But he had to admit that Su Ming was telling the truth. Even the 3-5 elders' teammates around him looked at him with strange expressions, which made him very angry. Advertisement, don't be intimidated by him, this guy is just stalling for time, the curly-haired 5 elders shouted angrily. Su Ming smiled. The purpose of the previous slash was not to injure a few people, but to escape from the battlefield. After all, the trump card that will be used next is not suitable for too many people to see. Now that you have given your last words, it's time to send you on your way. Su Ming looked at the curly-haired 5 elders as if he were looking at a dead person. The completely ignored look made the curly-haired 5 elders feel uneasy. Boy, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm not that. Suddenly, a red light descended from the sky and shone directly on the head of the curly-haired 5 elders. A great sense of crisis rose in my heart. The curly-haired 5 elders instinctively wanted to escape from the beam. However, no matter how he moved, the red light seemed to be engraved above his head. Simple super satellite railgun has been activated. Successfully locked the target. The countdown to the railgun launch begins. Open black lens bracket 10 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket 9 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket 8 close black lens bracket. A cold mechanical electronic synthesized sound came from nowhere, but it was clearly heard by the people present. What is this, Su Ming? What are you doing? As the countdown sounded, the curly-haired 5 elders began to panic. The 5 elders who were traveling with him also unconsciously moved a few steps away from him. Ever since the red light appeared, a sense of crisis has been lingering in the minds of several people. Su Ming didn't say anything, but just looked at the curly-haired 5 elders in front of him, with a more weird smile on his face. Open black lens bracket 2 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket 1 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket 0 close black lens bracket. The cold number 0 fell. A laser that seemed like a divine punishment suddenly pierced through the cloud top and fell from the sky. The speed was so fast that the curly-haired 5 elders couldn't even react before his entire body was covered by the laser. After the zone fruit was awakened, his powerful body couldn't even last a second under the laser and was directly vaporized. The remaining lasers had no time to be retracted and shot into the sea surface and directly to the bottom of the sea. The sea surface within a radius of dozens of miles began to boil at a speed visible to the naked eye. The seabed, which should have been deep blue, turned red in the blink of an eye. Just a little bit of energy that escaped directly turned the 1,000-meter seabed into red magma that was difficult to calm down. There was no explosion, no loud noise. But at this moment, the remaining 5 elders on the sea suddenly became quiet. Chapter 259. Team split, new situation. The boiling sea gradually calmed down. The remaining 5 elders remained silent and didn't even dare to breathe. Su Ming even saw expressions on several people's faces that he had never seen before. Fear. For these old guys who have lived for hundreds of years and have always been in power, this is absolutely incredible. After all, eternal life has made them gradually forget the feeling of death. The bald 5 elders who were previously killed by Su Ming were only reported by their subordinates and were far less shocked than what they saw with their own eyes now. After a long while, the short and fat 5 elders were the first to react. Su Ming. You are so brave that you dared to kill Jago Lucia Saidensheng. The 5 elders, the god of environment and the god of agriculture, also stared at Su Ming with vigilance. If Su Ming made any move, the 3 of them would fight to the death without hesitation. Now it is no longer a question of whether or not to fight for power. But if he doesn't kill Su Ming will most likely kill him. Looking at the nervous expressions of the 3 people, Su Ming showed a smile. Sure enough, only when the knife was placed on their necks did these old guys feel afraid. The power of the super satellite orbital cannon did not disappoint him. Judging from the aftermath of the attack just now, it would be no problem to destroy a country in one blow. Even though it is just a simplified version, Su Ming believes that its power is no less than that of ancient weapon. The only drawback is that there is a cooldown period after each attack. But none of this matters. The main function of this top-notch destructive weapon is deterrence. For example, now, after seeing the power of this thing, the attitudes of the remaining 5 elders towards him have obviously changed. Su Ming's eyes rolled and he suddenly laughed. Hey guys, I think there's a misunderstanding between us. I discovered that Jago Lucia Satan was colluding with the pirates to disrupt and pell down and shake the foundation of the world government. I just joined forces with a few people to kill the rebels. When I see Lord Yimu again, I will definitely prove it for you. You all have made contributions to this war, Su Ming said seriously. By the way, he also threw a video bug into the hands of the 3 people. The video worm shows the scene where the world government personnel contacted Blackbeard. I have already investigated. Both of them work for St. Jago Lucia Satan. The results of the investigation will be presented to Lord Yim soon. Are there any other things you would like to add, sir? For example, whether St. Jago Lucia Satan has any problems in normal times. The sudden change made the 5 elders who had lived for hundreds of years stunned for a few seconds. But the 3 of them quickly reacted and understood what Su Ming meant. This guy is planning to put the entire blame on Jago Lucia Satan Saint. Advertisement. He gathered a few of his people and performed a holy cutting with St. Jago Lucia Satan. After realizing Su Ming's intention, several people felt a sinking feeling in their hearts. This guy is really good at it. At this moment, if they agreed to Su Ming, they would be betraying Yim in disguise. If I turn around and find out, I will definitely not have a good ending. But if he didn't agree, Su Ming would definitely kill him with the weapon he had just used. The 5 elders broke out in cold sweats, and as they looked at the smiling Su Ming in front of them, they finally began to regret their decision. This guy has never been just about making money. Unconsciously, Su Ming had already grasped his own weak spot. On the sea, Su Ming wiped the long sword in his hand while looking at the 3 people intentionally or unintentionally, but he did not take any precautions against them. He knew that these 3 old guys would definitely cooperate. After all, the longer you live, the more afraid you are of death. After a moment, the eyes of Shepherd 10 Peter Saint, the god of agricultural affairs who had been silent, flashed. He pushed aside the god of law in front of him and walked in front of Su Ming, bowing 90 degrees with a respectful attitude. Master Su Ming is right. If Master Su Ming hadn't taken action this time, Jago Lucia Saidensheng would have succeeded. Your Excellency has a unique vision and is very capable. I am willing to follow your advice. Shepherd 10 Peter Saint. You. The god of law Topman Vocally Saint looked at the god of agriculture who was standing next to Su Ming in shock. This guy, who usually obeyed the arrangements of himself and the curly-haired 5 elders in everything, actually betrayed several people without hesitation. This was completely beyond his expectations. Su Ming was in a good mood and reached out to lift Shepherd 10 Peter Saint up. Haha, We all work together for Lord Yimu, so it would be a bit strange to say that. Now the five elders' position is vacant again, and it will take a while to find a suitable candidate. St. Jagolusha Satan's territory cannot be left unmanaged, so I'm afraid I'll have to trouble St. Shepherd 10 Peter recently. Shepherd 10 Peter's eyes suddenly lit up. The bet was right. When Su Ming killed the former god of finance, he had intended to win me over. I gave myself some extra when I divided the chassis. Unfortunately, he was the weakest among the five elders, and they took back the extra territory without his consent. This incident also made him very dissatisfied with several other five elders, but he never showed it. Now, after seeing Su Ming's strength and the other party extending an olive branch again, he couldn't miss this opportunity no matter what. The plump legal warrior stood there with his eyes changing again and again, and finally made a decision. The god of agriculture is right. Lord Su Ming has made great contributions this time. We are just helping him. We hope Lord Su Ming can put aside the past grudges and help us say a few good words in front of Lord Yimu. To make his position clear, the legal god also walked over to Su Ming. Suddenly, the original team of 4 people was left with only the environmental martial god with long beard and hair. Su Ming looked at the guy in front of him with amusement. The environmental god of war, 5 elders, snorted coldly. Advertisement, Su Ming, don't look at me, I won't join you, kid. Once St. Jagolusha Satan dies, Lord Yim will arrive soon. Unless you kill me before that, I will tell Lord Yim what you did. And both of you, you're going to die. There was sarcasm in the eyes of the environmental god of war, as if he was laughing at the stupidity of several people. He had seen Uranus before and knew that a weapon of that power could not be used continuously in a short period of time. As long as I can hold on until I am arrives, I will be the final winner. After hearing the words of the god of environment, a trace of panic appeared on the faces of the god of law and the god of agriculture. If Lord Yim knew of his betrayal, he would be doomed. The two were thinking about what to do. Su Ming looked at the environment and the god of war suddenly smiled. You have backbone. I still prefer you like this. The environment martial god snorted coldly. Su Ming, you don't think I will let you go just by saying a few nice words? Of course not. Su Ming raised his hand and snapped his fingers. The same red light as before suddenly shone on the head of the environmental god of war. The environmental god of war, who was so tough a second ago, trembled. Su Ming. Are you kidding me? Even Uranus can't activate it twice in such a short time? You simply. What am I doing? Su Ming's cold voice sounded behind the god of environment. The pupils of several people present shrank, so fast. Su Ming didn't know when he had come behind the environmental god of war. Lei Si's dark and cold blade was already on the neck of the environmental god of war. The death perception eye. In Su Ming's eyes, red death lines appeared on the body of the environmental god of war. As Su Ming's strength increased, the number of dead spots and dead lines seen by the death perception eye increased. With the slashing attack of the supreme swordsman, 4 sword lights appeared in an instant. Along the death line, the limbs of the environmental god of war were directly cut off. Ah! Su Ming! The environmental martial god screamed. The 5 elders, who usually acted high and mighty, kept uttering abusive words. Su Ming was not angry, nor did he kill him directly. Instead, he turned to look at the 2 5 elders who had surrendered to him, and gave a devilish smile. You too, he just wanted to kill you, aren't you going to do anything now? Chapter 260 High-Risk Occupation 5 Elders. Su Ming looked at the god of law and the god of agriculture with a smile. Cold sweat dripped down the temples of the 2 men. Su Ming's meaning was very clear, forcing the 2 to take sides. If the 2 of them really took action against the god of environment, they would be completely on Su Ming's side. In other words, Su Ming had a hold on him. The god of law forced a bitter smile. Master Su Ming, after all, we are colleagues. I don't think it is necessary. Before the god of law could finish his words, a red laser was aimed at his head. Su Ming smiled and said, Saint Topman vocally, what I have in my hands now is not the 5 elders, but the rebels who are colluding with the pirates. If you don't take action, I will suspect that you are also involved with him, which is very difficult to deal with. I'm a very timid person. I don't dare to kill people. Su Ming said he didn't dare, but his eyes showed he was eager to try. The god of law broke out in a cold sweat. Can you make up a story that's even more outrageous? Are you timid? In just a few years, you killed 2 of the 5 elders who no one dared to challenge for hundreds of years. Now they are forcing us to kill a 3rd one. After working as a 5 elders for so many years, this is the first time I feel that this is actually a high-risk profession. But even though he complained, the god of legal affairs also understood that Su Ming had a weapon in his hand that was enough to kill him instantly. If he didn't take action today, he would definitely not be able to escape. Feeling the threat lingering in his mind, the god of law gritted his teeth and walked to the god of environment with his crutches. A trace of panic flashed in the eyes of the environmental god of war. Saint Voculi, don't forget what the consequences will be if Lord Im gets angry. Now let's team up to kill Su Ming. I can pretend that what happened to you before never happened. Lord Yim will be here soon, you have to think about it carefully. With his life threatened, the environmental god of war could no longer maintain his usual composure. A fierce look flashed in the eyes of the law god. Yim knew that he would indeed die, but that is a matter for the future. If I don't take action now, I will die. What can I do? Su Ming stood aside without any movement, just watching everything happen with a smile, as if he was watching a stage play. I'm sorry, Saint Wushuori. I did not betray Master I am, but your sacrifice was necessary. After saying this, the cane in the hands of the god of law was like a sharp blade, piercing directly into the heart of the god of environment. The crutch pierced through the body and dripped onto the sea with sticky blood. Behind him, Su Ming showed a satisfied smile, sheathed his sword, and clapped slowly. Good. Saint Vokuli acted decisively. I believe you have nothing to do with this incident. I will ask my men to spread the word to you later, and I will definitely create a glorious image for Saint Wushuri. Advertise in the newspaper continuously for, 3 months. Don't worry, Master Vokuli. I'll take care of this matter. The corner of the law god's eye twitched. This devil. Advertisement, what are you talking about building an image? You might as well just hold a loudspeaker and shout to the world. I am the murderer of Saint Wukuli. Do you really think I am doesn't read newspapers? If I am had to watch the news about himself killing his colleague for 3 consecutive months, he would be dead even if he was innocent. The law god wiped the cold sweat from his head and laughed dryly. I appreciate Master Su Ming's kindness, but there's no need to put it in the newspaper. I hope you will continue to support me in the future. Su Ming's face was full of regret when he heard this. Alas, Lord Wushuri really doesn't seek fame or fortune. I will wait for the mold to be opened. I will keep this in mind. When I have the chance, I will definitely write a memorial for you. Legal god. This is really a trick to kill someone. Faced with Su Ming's naked threat, the god of law could only grit his teeth and swallow his anger. Haha, thank you, Master Su Ming. Su Ming laughed and did not continue to pester the god of legal affairs. Instead, he looked at the young god of agricultural affairs. He just stood aside without saying a word. Noticing Su Ming's gaze at this moment, compared to the old-fashioned god of legal affairs, the god of agricultural affairs was quick and decisive. He took the environmental god of war, who looked like a string of candied haws, from the legal god of war and kicked him off the crutch. Blood splattered in the air. A layer of hockey was attached to the hands of the agricultural god, and he made a knife move. The environment warrior god who had been chopped into a human pig by Su Ming didn't even let out a scream, his head was chopped off. Catching the head of the god of environment, the god of agriculture presented it to Su Ming. Adult. Su Ming's smile widened. Lord Peter acted decisively. I saw it all. I will tell Lord Yim the truth later. Under the gaze of the deathly eyes, the environmental god of war is deader than dead. Okay, we are all colleagues. In the future, under Lord Yimu's command, we must help each other. The law god forced a smile, but I couldn't help cursing in my heart. You still remember that they are colleagues. You kill colleagues more easily than you kill chickens. Being your colleague is the most dangerous job, bar none. Suddenly, Su Ming's expression changed, but he regained his composure in an instant. The god of agriculture and the god of law also followed suit, turned around and knelt down in one direction. I saw a figure approaching at an extremely fast speed, from far away, and in the blink of an eye it was close to the few people. The person who came was not someone else, but I am who noticed something unusual. Looking at the corpse of the environmental martial god floating on the sea and the remaining breath of the curly-haired 5 elders, Im's eyes turned cold. His eyes swept over Su Ming and the other 2. The god of law and the god of agriculture lowered their heads even lower. Only Su Ming stood still, bowing 90 degrees like an ordinary noble. Su Ming still had a faint smile on his face, as if nothing had happened. Advertisement, Lord Yim, you are here. Su Ming greeted with a smile. Yim looked at Su Ming, who spoke with cold eyes. What happened? Why did Saint Mazi die here? Also, where is Saint Satan? The god of law and the god of agriculture, who had followed I am for hundreds of years, began to feel fear in their hearts. Although I am did not show anything on his face, the 2 knew that he was completely angry at this moment. The 2 people who had already chosen sides couldn't help but begin to feel a little regretful. Why did I stand on Su Ming's side so impulsively? Can this kid really calm Yim's anger by himself? If it doesn't work, will the 2 of us be implicated? The 2 were just thinking about it when they saw Su Ming raised his hand and pointed in response to Yim's question. Lord Yim, they did it all. I didn't do anything. The god of law. Winking face farm god. Winking face, no, what does that mean? You kill people to your heart's content, and we are here to stand on your side. Not only did you not protect us, but you turned around and sold us out? Are you recruiting cannon fodder here? Seeing that Yim's eyes turned to the 2 of them and began to show murderous intent. The god of law was about to explain, but Su Ming spoke again. Lord Yim, the rebellion of the god of environment and god of law was discovered in time by the 2 lords. The 2 lords informed me of the matter in time, and the 3 of us joined forces to eliminate the 2. Betrayal? Im's eyes were still cold. After taking the essence of the devil fruit that he had modified, there is absolutely no possibility that he would betray him. Unless Su Ming in front of me is lying. Yim's eyes became even colder. Su Ming noticed all the changes in Yimu and explained calmly. Lord Yim, my description just now was inappropriate. To be precise, Satan and Moshe did not betray you, but betrayed the world government. They both used the power you gave them to collude with the pirates for their own benefit. But we believe that the world government is Lord Yimu's personal property. What they did is tantamount to betraying Lord Yimu. That's why we want them to confess their guilt to Lord Yimu. It's just that they didn't listen to advice, so I had to take action. I have the video footage recorded by the image bug as evidence. The god of law and the god of agriculture can also testify. I watched from the side as Su Ming threw a series of punches. The god of law and the god of agriculture felt relieved. It turns out that Su Ming had already thought of an excuse. The two of them discovered the verdict of the environmental god of war and the scientific research department god of war, and teamed up with Su Ming to kill them. This is reasonable. After all, if it is not related to I am, they generally won't take action. Wait a minute. That's not right. According to Su Ming's statement, doesn't that mean he is the main culprit and Su Ming is passive? Chapter 261 Blackbeard. I have been wandering for half my life. Yim's eyes moved back and forth between the few people. Facing Im's gaze, the god of law and the god of agriculture knelt on the ground and didn't even dare to breathe. After a long time, Yim spoke again. I know about this matter. You did the right thing. But next time, such things must be reported to me. The god of law and the god of agriculture on the ground breathed a sigh of relief. They were really surprised to be able to pass the test so easily. After Yim finished speaking, he looked at Su Ming deeply again and turned away. Su Ming looked at Yim's leaving back, a faint smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. The god of law and the god of agriculture stood up and wiped the cold sweat from their heads. Before they knew it, cold sweat had already wet their backs. Su Ming turned his head and looked at the two of them. Things are almost done. I have to go back to the headquarters. Do you two want to go back with me? No, no, no. Lord Su Ming can handle the affairs of this department himself. We will not get involved. The cunning legal god shook his head like a rattle. Good man, 5 elders were killed because of an ace. How foolish of me to offend Su Ming, the evil star. The 5 elders turned and left. Su Ming stood where he was, but did not turn back immediately. Turning his head to look at a remote island in the distance, Su Ming dodged. When he reappeared, he was already standing on the rocks by the sea. In the dense forest of the island, Doflamingo and other Shichibukai who were supposed to be on the headquarters battlefield walked out. Doflamingo stepped forward and bowed. Boss. Su Ming asked. Is the battle over there? Yes, just as you expected. Whitebeard fell, and the 4 emperors Shanks and Kaido stepped in at the same time to forcibly stop the war. Listening to Doflamingo's report, Su Ming nodded. With Marine's current strength, it would be a miracle if Whitebeard could escape. Take over Whitebeard's territory as soon as possible and disturb the civilians. Yes, boss. Suddenly, Su Ming thought of something and looked at Doflamingo. I told you to pay special attention to Blackbeard and see what his current situation is. Doflamingo looked a little strange when he heard Su Ming mention Blackbeard. Well, boss, we've also brought Blackbeard with us. Su Ming was stunned. Bring him? Advertisement had just asked a few people to keep an eye on Blackbeard and didn't let them take any action. Hearing that Blackbeard had followed was a bit beyond Su Ming's expectations. Doflamingo explained. Boss, we didn't approach him, he approached us. That guy was trying to take Whitebeard's shock fruit on the battlefield, but due to Enel's interference, something went wrong and he ended up with a bubble fruit instead. As for the people he recruited, except for Shiryu and Crocodile, they have now quit the Blackbeard pirates. Now everyone in the ocean knows the secret that Blackbeard can use 2 kinds of devil fruit, and you've also put a 50 billion bounty on him. He has the secret of becoming stronger quickly, plus the bounty offered by Ju, so he is now much more famous than One Piece. On a small island, deep in the dense forest, Blackbeard, looking disheveled, was leaning against a tree, his clothes torn into pieces. Not far away, there was a bonfire in front of Yuji Shiryu, and behind him was the corpse of a beast that looked like a dinosaur. In his hand, a few pieces of neck meat were stuck on the famous sword Lei Yu, which made a squeaking sound when roasted. Crocodile was leaning against a tree, concentrating on wiping the golden hook on his left hand. Rain Shiryu threw a piece of roasted meat to Blackbeard and asked, what's the plan next? Following you, I said. If following you cannot realize my ambition, then I will be the first to kill you. With a hint of murderous intent in his eyes, Yuji Shiryu tore off a piece of barbecue, chewed it twice and swallowed it. Crocodile, who was standing by, looked at Blackbeard with murderous intent in his eyes. Blackbeard just stood up and felt a chill on his back. While secretly cursing myself for inviting 2 old men, I had to force myself to remain calm. Don't worry, although it's a bit troublesome that we didn't get the shock fruit, it's just a minor incident. There was a fierce flash in Blackbeard's eyes. Not being able to obtain the shock fruit completely disrupted his plans. When his strength was insufficient, his secrets were exposed. Now he is like a child who has not grown up holding a gold brick in his arms, and everyone is jealous of him. Under the current circumstances, not to mention realizing one's ambitions, even going out to sea has become a problem. There is only one way before you, to join a powerful force. At the same time, make good use of your last chance to plunder devil fruit. I need a fruit that is strong enough to make up for the shock fruit. And such a powerful fruit happened to be on Su Ming. Blackbeard tore off a piece of barbecue, a look of determination flashing in his eyes. Now the world is in turmoil, heroes are everywhere, and heroes are rising up. East Blue is a nightclub in the east. South Blue is the most popular night bar in the south. North Blue is the most popular night bar in the north. There is a night bar in Grand Line. On the side, Crocodile and Rain Shiryu looked at each other. Advertisement, a crowd of heroes. From what you said, why does it feel like the night bar has unified the sea? Blackbeard ignored the two's complaints and threw the barbecue in his hand. So, this chaotic world is a good time for us to realize our ambitions. Right now, I'm going to join the night bar first. Crocodile. Rain Shiryu. This guy is definitely crazy. Why not just kill him and return to complete the quest? Shiryu and Crocodile are hesitating. Suddenly, a voice sounded not far behind the three people. Good. Blackbeard, who was sitting under the tree, shuddered and stood up quickly. Su Ming was seen followed by Doflamingo and several Shichibukai walking slowly towards Blackbeard. Su Ming walked and clapped his hands, with a faint smile in his eyes, which made Blackbeard sweat. Master Su Ming. Blackbeard stuttered a little, and his attitude returned to that of when he was on Whitebeard's ship. Su Ming walked up to Blackbeard and looked him up and down. You want to join the night bar? Night bar isn't that easy to join. There are so many people in this ocean who want to join, but the number of people who can actually join the Corps can be counted on one hand. Those who can join must either have extraordinary potential or be very strong. But you. Su Ming looked at Blackbeard and shook his head. Maybe Blackbeard could be considered as having potential due to his talent of being able to eat multiple devil fruits. But now that he has eaten a rubbish bubble fruit, this potential is naturally gone. Of course, this is just the strength that Blackbeard shows on the surface. Su Ming, who had read the original novel, had already guessed that the Blackbeard in front of him would most likely be able to eat another devil fruit. The reason he joined the night bar was not only because he was forced by his own bounty, but also most likely because he had his eyes on his devil fruit. Unfortunately, Blackbeard's plan was doomed to fail. Facing Su Ming's question, Blackbeard gritted his teeth. In front of Shichibukai and others, Blackbeard was ruthless and knelt on the ground in front of everyone's shocked eyes. I have been wandering for half my life, and I only regret that I have never met a wise master. If you don't abandon me, I am willing to be your foster father. Su Ming. Crocodile and Rain Shiryu, who were undercover beside Blackbeard, looked at Blackbeard and couldn't help but give him a thumbs up in their hearts. Putting aside other things, just the fact that he has no bottom line shows that this guy is indeed a character. Chapter 262. Father's Kindness and Son's Filial Piety. Looking at Blackbeard, who was kneeling on the ground in front of him with a sincere look on his face. Su Ming's eyes twitched. Could it be that the person in front of me is the Pirates King Nieba? Blackbeard's ill intentions were almost written on his face. Such an ambitious guy would never truly submit to others. A murderous intent flashed in Su Ming's eyes. The best way to deal with this kind of guy is to kill him directly to eliminate the trouble forever. But as murderous intent flashed in his eyes, Su Ming did not choose to take action. The person in front of him could be considered the nephew Luffy's archenemy. There are many secrets hidden in him. Who will finally get on Raftel? Apart from his eldest nephew Luffy, the most likely person is this guy. Killing him would only add a hint of uncertainty to the future. Rather than facing the unknown, it is better to tie this guy up where you can see him and monitor his movements at any time. Su Ming's eyes turned, the murderous intent in his eyes disappeared, and he was replaced by a smile. My son, get up quickly. Godfather. Doflamingo and the others around him looked at the scene of loving father and filial son in front of them. Their foreheads were filled with black lines, and their world views were shattered. Crocodile and Rain Shiryu, who were lurking beside Blackbeard, turned their heads silently. It's so embarrassing. If Su Ming hadn't assigned me the task, I would have stabbed this shameless guy to death today. Su Ming became famous early, but he is only 30 years old. However, the Blackbeard in front of him was actually a man approaching 40. Now Blackbeard has to call Su Ming dad. This is true. It is true that we have avoided decades of detours. After helping Blackbeard up, Su Ming looked back at Doflamingo and the others with a smile on his face. Well, I'm in a good mood today, and I got a great one. Since you have acknowledged me as your adoptive father, I can't let you do it for nothing. From today on, you belong to the night bar. You also have to help me, your godfather, manage the business. As he spoke, Su Ming looked thoughtful. After a moment, he showed an expression of sudden realization and clapped his hands as he came up with a good idea. Got it. Well, Teach, from now on you will be the manager of the product promotion department of the night bar. Advertisement. Your main task is to be responsible for selling our products to people. This is also to train you. On the side, Doflamingo seemed to be hesitant to speak. Su Ming noticed Doflamingo's expression and asked, Dover, what do you want to say? I arranged a place for my eldest son. Are you dissatisfied? Behind him, Blackbeard's eyes flashed with a hint of pride when he heard Su Ming's words of protection. Look, family members are different from outsiders. Doflamingo can be considered as Su Ming's capable subordinate. As a result, he was criticized by Su Ming because of his own problems. Product marketing manager, although I don't know what he does, but the word, manager, should mean he has real power. This dad is right. Blackbeard's happiness lasted less than 2 seconds. Doflamingo's words sent him from heaven to hell. Boss, I have no objection to Teach. Master Teach's personnel arrangements. The only problem now is that we don't have a product marketing department. Su Ming frowned. Although we don't have a product marketing department, we can have a marketing manager, understand? Dover, since Teach is my good son, he must do something decent. Someone will inherit my huge family business in the future. So, as an heir, you must behave as you should, and not just sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. We must build on the existing foundation and create a new blue ocean. On the side, Blackbeard cursed in his heart. Lousy Tamiao doesn't want to break through difficulties, just want to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. But under Su Ming's gaze, Blackbeard still had to put on a touched expression. Godfather. Su Ming turned around and patted Blackbeard on the shoulder. Well, come on, work hard, this huge business empire needs someone to inherit it. Hearing the promise made by Su Ming, Blackbeard felt a little comforted. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask your Uncle Dover. Teach. Doflamingo looked at Blackbeard, who looked a generation older than him and much wealthier, and forced an awkward smile. Boss, rest assured, I will take good care of the young master. Naval Headquarters, looking at the headquarters that had been destroyed beyond recognition and the wounded lying on the ground, Sengoku frowned. Advertisement. Although I had already made arrangements before the battle to try my best to ensure my own safety. But since it is a war, casualties are inevitable. In just one day's incident, several of the department's elite vice admirals were killed. An unknown number of colonel-level officers from the headquarters were killed. Plus the destroyed buildings. It would be a lie to say I don't feel sad. But thinking about the elimination of Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors, and the safe rescue of Su Ming's eldest nephew Ace, Sengoku felt relieved again. Although the cost is high, it is not unacceptable. Damn it, all the losses of our headquarters this time must be reimbursed by that brat Su Ming, Sengoku muttered angrily. Hey, you old man, you're saying bad things about me while I'm not around, right? As soon as Sengoku finished speaking, Su Ming's voice suddenly sounded behind him, scaring Sengoku. Turning back, he found Su Ming looking at him with a smile on his face, wearing Blackbeard. Sengoku frowned. The brat is elusive. Also, why did you bring this guy with you? Sengoku has a clear hostility towards Blackbeard. If it weren't for this guy capturing Ace, even if the headquarters wanted to get rid of Whitebeard, they could have been more prepared and reduced the losses. Su Ming smiled and waved his hand, signaling Sengoku to calm down. After explaining the whole story, Sengoku looked at Blackbeard with a strange expression. In the end, I could only utter 2 words in my mind. Awesome. Sengoku was looking at Blackbeard, whose eyes already had wrinkles, and was wondering how to start talking when he suddenly saw 2 figures not far away. Sengoku's eyes lit up and he waved vigorously at the person coming. Garp, come on, you have a new grandson. Garp, who was walking over with Ace, was stunned. Another grandson? But soon, he noticed Blackbeard next to Su Ming. The smile on Garp's face immediately disappeared, and anger appeared on his face at a speed visible to the naked eye. Sengoku was watching Garp from the side, not minding the fun, and patted Garp on the shoulder. Garp, let me introduce you. This is Su Ming's new son, Marshal D. Teach. He is your disciple, so it's okay to call him your eldest grandson. Ace, who had already changed into a military uniform, looked at Blackbeard, anger almost bursting out of his eyes. Garp listened to Sengoku's introduction with a sneer on his face, and his fists made a crackling sound. He walked over to Blackbeard, grabbed Blackbeard's shoulders, and gave him a weird smile. Son thief, I haven't seen you for more than 30 years. Come here, let Grandpa be intimate with you. Chapter 263. Back to Ghost Island, relying on the Shipping King. Garp grabbed Blackbeard's shoulder without saying anything and rushed to the headquarters training ground which had not been destroyed yet. Ace followed with an equally angry look on his face. Behind them, Su Ming and Sengoku looked at each other and had already guessed what Garp was going to do. Thinking about the way Garp was affectionate with his family, Sengoku began to feel some sympathy for Blackbeard. Su Ming suddenly seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly reminded Garp. Stinky old man, my godson ate dark fruit. Although it is logia, it cannot be transformed into an element. The physical damage and pain are doubled. You take it easy. Garp's eyes lit up when he heard that, and he looked at Blackbeard as if he was looking at a beautiful woman who had been stripped naked. Isn't this cat a natural human sandbag? Ha ha ha, good, great-grandson. We are a family, so you have to be affectionate with me today. Fist-bone clash. Falling to the bottom of the sea. Lucian Shenlonga. Pegasus Meteor Fist. Su Ming felt a chill as he listened to the names of Garp's moves that broke through the dimensional wall. It can be seen that the stinky old man loves his new grandson very much. Su Ming shrugged and was about to leave when Sengoku beside him suddenly spoke. Tell me the truth, little brat, what are you planning on doing by keeping such a dangerous guy around? Don't tell me you really want to adopt him as your godson. I'm old, but I don't have Alzheimer's disease yet. Su Ming chuckled. You old B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* you are a little ignorant. Sengoku didn't respond and rolled his eyes at Su Ming. Okay, stop looking at me like that. Su Ming shrugged, put away his joking attitude, looked in the direction of the training ground, his eyes became sharp and cold. You're right, this is indeed a dangerous guy. He has many secrets. If we kill him directly, it will be a big loss. But if we release this guy back into the sea, there are too many uncertainties. So, just tie it to your side. Sengoku frowned, thinking about Su Ming's words. Okay, old man, just stop worrying about this matter. Su Ming waved his hand and didn't intend to continue speaking. Blackbeard has other uses for himself. For Marine Marshal Sengoku, the less he knew about these things, the better. Looking at the ruins around him, Su Ming glanced at Sengoku. Old man, this time our headquarters has been destroyed like this, you have to rebuild it quickly. Also, my office must be of the highest standard. Besides, the office is bigger, so more people are needed to clean it up. If it doesn't work, transfer Hina and Gion to serve as my adjutants. After all, I still hold the title of Marine Admiral, so it's normal to have a few more lieutenants. Advertisement Sengoku was furious when he heard Su Ming's words. You still know you're a Marine Admiral. Whitebeard was responsible for at most 10% of the damage to our headquarters this time. The rest was all caused by you. You must pay for the repairs to this headquarters. Thinking of Su Ming holding the wolf on the battlefield, Sengoku felt his blood pressure rising again. Tisk, you're so petty. Su Ming curled his lips and was too lazy to argue with Sengoku about these trivial matters. A mere naval headquarters is really nothing to him now. Suddenly, Sengoku sighed as if he had thought of something. Stinky boy, once this headquarters is repaired, I will be ready to retire. This Marine Marshal's position, Sengoku said and looked at Su Ming. Su Ming was startled and waved his hands quickly. Wait, you old man, forget it. I won't take the position of Marine Marshal no matter what. Just kidding, I don't know how comfortable I am now as a behind-the-scenes financier. For him to take on such a stressful job as Marine Marshal, he must be crazy. But Su Ming knew that since Sengoku took the position of Marshal, his white hair had been growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The reason why it still looks dark and rich is mainly because the old man uses a lot of hair dye. Hair dye is the biggest expense in this old man's salary. Of course, in addition to hair dye, a lot of money was also spent on snacks and pet food. Sengoku's face darkened. Don't worry, little brat. Even if I die in this position, I will never let you inherit the position of Marine Marshal. I see you are asking if you have any recommendations for the successor. Su Ming felt relieved but also couldn't help curling his lips. Tisk. You old b***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************�e we have a plan. Sengoku said solemnly. Aokiji and Akainu. Su Ming nodded. Yes, it's these two. You can't expect Kizaru to inherit the position of Marine Marshal. Sengoku's mind automatically conjured up the image of Kizaru becoming Marine Admiral. A wretched old face full of grease. As soon as he saw the enemy, he said, dig inside, without waiting to make a move. Sengoku suddenly shuddered. No, absolutely not. We must not let Kizaru inherit. Marine has two major cancers, one in charge of finance and the other in charge of government affairs. They can be announced to be disbanded in less than 2 years. Su Ming chuckled. Old man, you should worry about the Marine Marshal's affairs yourself. Advertisement. If you really want me to recommend someone, I can only recommend Kizaru. In short, you do the work and I pay, and it's a happy cooperation. After Su Ming finished speaking, without waiting for Sengoku to say anything else, he turned around and slipped away, leaving Sengoku gritting his teeth as he watched Su Ming leave. Time flies and half a month has passed. With the strong financial support of Su Ming, the reconstruction of naval headquarters has reached completion. Sengoku announced that he would elect a new Marine Marshal. Upon learning that Su Ming would not participate in the competition, both the Hawks and Doves led by Aokiji and Akainu became excited. The Slacker group, who share the same stance as Su Ming and Kizaru, are still just watching the fun. Su Ming did not pay much attention to the decisions of the headquarters. While Aokiji and Akainu were preparing to compete for the Marshal, Su Ming rushed to Wanokuni on a merchant ship from the night bar. On the deck, Su Ming looked at Wanokuni who was not far away. Su Ming narrowed his eyes slightly, but was thinking about something else. The last time I killed 2 5 elders, I met Yim. Although Yim didn't say anything in the end, he even praised himself. But Su Ming knew clearly that Yim had actually begun to doubt him. Facing this dangerous guy who has ruled the world for hundreds of years, Su Ming must also make plans early. I must have something in my hand that can restrain Yim. And Su Ming knows of only one person who can restrain Yim. The hidden secrets of Raftel. If you want to board Raftel, historical texts are an essential step. In the past, Su Ming was wary of the 5 elders and Yim, and always kept his distance from sensitive things like historical texts. But now, the 5 elders are no longer a threat to him. Even if it was Yi Mu, Su Ming believed that with his current strength and trump card, the other party would not dare to act easily. I wonder what the historical text on Wanokuni says, Su Ming said to himself with a smile. A subordinate from the night bar walked behind Su Ming. Boss, there seems to be a pirate's ship ahead, and it looks like it's heading towards us. At the same time, on the deck of the pirate's ship, one of the 3 disasters of Beast's pirates, the big pirate's Jack with a bounty of 1 billion berries, sat on a chair with a big barrel of wine in his hand, drinking happily. The alcohol made Jack's head a little dizzy. Just then, one of the pirates came up to Jack and reported. Boss Jack, there's a ship ahead of us, and the flag of the night bar is flying across from us. Should we go around it? Night bars, even in New World, are taboos that cannot be touched. In the past, Jack would never cause trouble for the night bar. However, Jack may have drunk a little too much today, and his subordinates were right next to him. After hearing the words, go around, Jack seemed to have touched some strange switch. Go around? Who do you think I am? Pull the boat over? Chapter 264 Wanakuna's welcome ceremony on the deck. Su Ming looked at the pirate's ship rushing towards him and quickly recognized the other party's identity. Kaido's man, Jack the Drow. When the observation hockey was deployed, all the minions on the pirate's ship looked as if they were ready to fight and kill. Su Ming raised his eyebrows. Obviously this is not someone who is here to greet me. Considering Jack's personality, he immediately guessed the other party's intention. Is this a challenge to the 3 great achievements of the New World? Su Ming guessed Jack's intention and was so angry that he laughed. Does Kaido really have no requirements for intelligence when recruiting his subordinates? He really dares to challenge anyone, and his main characteristic is recklessness. Su Ming waved to his subordinates behind him. The subordinate was also very tactful and brought a chair for Su Ming. Don't resist for a while. If the other side wants to get on the boat, let him come on board. When the men heard Su Ming's words, they looked at the pirate's ship rapidly approaching in the distance, and a trace of sympathy appeared in their eyes. This is definitely a scratch-off lottery ticket that won the grand prize. I just don't know how the other side will end up. Dare to rob the boss's ship. Isn't this equivalent to robbing celestial dragons' heavenly gold, attacking celestial dragons, offending 5 elders, provoking world government, and declaring war on naval headquarters, Night Bar, and the Revolutionary Army at the same time? All the top crimes of this era were committed at once. This bounty is bound to increase exponentially. Jack pirates on board. The pirates looked at the flag of the Night Bar and their drunkenness began to wear off. Although these lower-level pirates don't know how powerful the Night Bar is. But they knew that even Kaido wouldn't normally bother going to a Night Bar. Seeing that Jack really wanted to take action against the Night Bar, the minion swallowed and reminded again. Boss Jack, let's forget about it. The Night Bar seems to be quite powerful, and the other party's route is definitely coming to Wano Kuni. Maybe they're here to deliver drinks. There's no need. Bang. Without waiting for his minion to finish his words, Jack turned around and slapped him. The minion who was speaking flew backwards and hit the side of the ship. Jack was already drunk. Shut up, are you looking down on me? I'm Jack the Drow. Not to mention a merchant ship, even if it was a warship from the naval headquarters, Lousy would approach it anyway. Open all the sails and speed up. Due to Jack's tyranny, the pirates had no choice but to do as they were told. Sitting on the chair, Su Ming was drinking coconut juice while waiting for Jack's arrival. When he saw the boat on the opposite side spread its sails and start to speed up, the smile on his face became even wider. Su Ming's observation hockey has been activated. At this moment, the two ships are only a few nautical miles apart, and he heard clearly what Jack said just now. What a funny guy. Advertisement. What does it mean that there is a road to heaven but you don't take it, and there is no door to hell but you have to find a way? Su Ming stood up, ready to personally greet this distinguished guest. Just at this moment. Okay. The Den Den Mushi on the table in front of me suddenly rang. Su Ming picked up the Den Den Mushi casually. Hey, who is it? I'm busy right now. Su Ming's tone was a little impatient. We finally found some fun in this boring sea, and the phone call at this time really ruined the atmosphere. On the other end of the Den Den Mushi, Kaido was stunned. Noticing the displeasure in Su Ming's tone, he couldn't help but become cautious. Boss Su Ming, I just got the news that you are coming to Wano Kuni. Where are you now? I will ask my men to go and greet you. Kaido, who was already scared of soda, was extremely nice. Su Ming raised his eyebrows while holding the Den Den Mushi and laughed. Haha, there's no need to send anyone. Some of your men are already here. Thank you, Kaido. Is anyone there? Who is so sensible? Kaido thought about it and couldn't think of any of his subordinates who were so capable of handling things. But Kaido still had a smile on his face. No matter what, I didn't act rudely in front of Su Ming. Well, I have to see which subordinate it is later. The people under my command are all power players, and they always lack a little in terms of human relations and worldly wisdom. Now that I have discovered such talents, I cannot bury them and must promote them vigorously. Kaido said with a somewhat embarrassed smile while thinking in his mind. Haha, I'm sorry to have made you laugh, Master Su Ming. I'll just go and greet you first. I'll be there myself soon. However, Kaido didn't wait for Su Ming's reply, but heard a familiar voice coming from the Den Den Mushi. Robbery. Lousy is beasts pirates Jack the Drow. Hand over all your valuables. The sound coming from the Den Den Mushi seemed a little far away. But to Kaido's ears, the sound seemed so close. The smile on Kaido's face froze as he held the Den Den Mushi in his hand, and then his face darkened at a speed visible to the naked eye. Su Ming looked at Jack, who was almost standing opposite him but didn't recognize him because he was drunk, and smiled at Kaido, who was playing Den Den Mushi opposite him. Kaido, Wanakuna's welcome ceremony is quite special. Kaido. In that instant, Kaido cursed Jack countless times in his mind. You are my G ancestor. There are so many ships in New World, why would you rob any other one? Why did you have to rob this one? Even if they were to rob Big Mom and Shank's ship, Lousy would at most just fight, which is better than this. If you rob this guy, Lousy will have to be beaten up with you. Kaido took 2 deep breaths and silently told himself to calm down before speaking again. Master Su Ming, there is a misunderstanding here. Advertisement. That wasn't sent by me. That's an intern from our Kaido Pirates, a temporary worker. He has now been kicked out of the Beast's Pirates. He just used the name of our pirates to cheat people everywhere. Master Su Ming, please wait a moment, I'll be there soon. Kaido hung up the phone in a hurry and prepared to leave to prevent Jack, the reckless man, from making things worse. As for Jack's suicidal behavior, Kaido decisively chose to pass the blame. Jack, who has worked at Beast's Pirates for more than 10 years, doesn't know that he has been assigned to the temporary worker team. Looking at the Den Den Mushi that had been hung up, Su Ming smiled. Kaido has become a bad guy over the years. Who says Kaido is just reckless and doesn't use his brain when faced with problems? Just this set of public relations rhetoric, isn't it quite fluent and comes out just like that? After all, this guy's so-called lack of ability to use his brain simply means that the other party is not worth his effort to think about. Just hit it with a stick and get it over with. If you think too much, you'll lose your hair. But when I met Su Ming, it was different. If one thing is not handled properly, it is not a problem that can be solved simply by one blow. Instead, the scene is a wolf coming over from the opposite side. At this time, the brain cells stored in the brain become particularly important. Su Ming threw the Den Den Mushi aside. Jack, still shouting, has already climbed onto the deck. The burly Jack was holding a bottle of wine in his hand and kept cursing. Damn, didn't Lousy hear me? Lousy is Jack the Drow. Hand over all your valuables. Lousy wants. Su Ming turned his head slowly and looked at Jack playfully. What do you want? Bang! The bottle in Jack's hand fell to the ground, breaking into pieces and spilling the wine all over the floor. Jack, who was drunk, sobered up instantly. The blood even drained from his face. His face turned visibly pale. Su Ming looked at Jack with a smile. What's wrong? I hate it when people talk halfway. Su Ming turned to look at his men and ordered, Go, didn't you hear what Master Jack said? Take out all the valuables from the ship. Yes. Su Ming's men were even more eager to watch the fun. Vice Admiral hurriedly moved all the cargo and other things out of the cabin. The cargo on a single ship is worth tens of billions. Jack's sweat dripped down his temples. Su Ming looked at Jack with a smile and asked again. Jack, all the valuables have been taken out, and you haven't told me what you want to do? Jack's few brain cells were burning like crazy. Looking at Su Ming, he forced a smile. Master Su Ming, I mean there's a lot of dust in the cabin. Please ask someone to move the things out, and I'll help you wipe it. Chapter 265 Su Ming. Who told you to take your left foot first? Ghost Island. Kaido looked at the Den Den Mushi on the table and felt like crying. From now on, you have to be more careful when recruiting subordinates. Don't just look at their martial arts ability. IQ is also very important. Thinking of Jack's character, Kaido didn't dare to delay any longer. This idiot. God knows what stupid things Jack will do before he arrives. Although I have said all the public relations tactics. But who is Su Ming? He is a celestial dragon. No, he is the celestial dragon among celestial dragons. He is completely unreasonable. Jack would definitely hold himself responsible for the offense he had committed. Kaido just stood up when Flame and Blight walked in from the door and saw Kaido's panic. Governor, what are you doing here? Why are you in such a hurry? Seeing that it was Jin and Quinn, Kaido snorted. What? Go save Jack's life. Damn it, when Lousy comes back this time, he will break off his tusks. Jin and Quinn looked at each other and saw confusion in each other's eyes. Having followed Kaido for many years, the two have a good understanding of Kaido's personality. Although this boss looks rough, he seems to have never been so angry except for the first time he did business with Doflamingo a few years ago. As the eldest brother among the three, Jin asked tentatively, Governor, what happened to Jack? Kaido stopped and turned back to glare at Jin. What's wrong? Ask him later. If he survives. Seeing that Kaido's words didn't seem like a joke, Jin and Quinn realized the seriousness of the matter. The three of them have a good relationship, and it would be a bit unreasonable if we don't help each other at this time. Quinn stepped forward and cautiously probed, Governor, Jack is indeed a bit reckless, but he still made contributions to the Beast's pirates. Jin also nodded in agreement. Please also look at Jack's daily behavior and give him a small punishment and a big warning. Seeing Kaido's angry look, the two were really afraid that Kaido would kill Jack directly. Kaido's eye twitched. Let him go. The question now is whether you will let Lousy go. Seeing Jin and Quinn begging for Jack in front of him and tying him down, Kaido became even angrier. You three seem to have a deep brotherly bond, so will you three share the responsibility for what he did? Jin and Quinn hesitated for a moment and gritted their teeth. Okay, as long as you don't kill Jack, Governor, we are willing to share the responsibility with Jack no matter what happens. Kaido. We must go back and conduct intellectual training within the team. What kind of people are these? Take responsibility. Fine, that's what you said, then I'll tell you what that idiot Jack did. He robbed the merchant ship at the night bar. Jin and Quinn shuddered when they heard this. It's over. They had spoken too early. Advertisement. Everyone in New World knows that you can't go to bars at night, but this idiot is a bit too reckless. But Jin and Quinn quickly adjusted their mindsets. Boss, this matter must be caused by Jack getting drunk and robbing the merchant ship of the night bar. Quinn and I are willing to negotiate. Please punish me after the governor comes back. Jin's thoughts were simple. Although this matter was not a small matter, as long as he brought Jack to apologize in person and make up for the losses, the situation would not be irreversible. It's just that the reputation of Beast's pirates will be affected and it won't look good. But after all, it was a night bar, so it wasn't too embarrassing. Jin cursed Jack in his heart. I'm afraid I'll suffer if I look back, and I'll definitely have to face Kaido's punishment. If things go wrong, you will have to go to Tuden and be a prisoner for a period of time. However, Kaido sneered when he heard what Jin said. Don't be impatient, Lousy hasn't finished yet. Jin and Quinn's eyes twitched. Anything else? Is this guy going to challenge the world government? Kaido took a deep breath. 5 Elder Su Ming was also on the boat at the night bar. Yes, it's just as you thought, the boat that Jack hijacked. Ember. Quinn. The two of them cursed in their hearts. He's really going to challenge the world government alone. Kaido sneered at the two. Come on, why are you silent? Didn't the three brothers just say they would live and die together? In an instant, Jin and Quinn cursed Jack's ancestors in their hearts. Lousy, then you are my brother, but you are cheating me like this. Yan Zai Jin came back to his senses, coughed twice and looked at the ceiling. Boss, the weather is nice today, how about we go fishing? And who is the Jack you just mentioned? How come I have never heard of this name? Is he a newly hired temporary worker? Kaido rolled his eyes and looked at Quinn. Quinn stood up silently and rummaged in his pocket for a moment. As a cyborg, he naturally carries a lot of spare parts and tools with him. Soon, a black and white photo of Jack was completed, even with a frame. My condolences, boss. Kaido. Yes, the main theme is the deep love between brothers. Wano Kuni Port. Su Ming sat on the chair. The burly Jack squatted next to boxes of expensive liquor. Holding a strip of cloth that was not even as wide as his finger, he wiped the wine carefully, afraid that any spot would be missed. Advertisement. Su Ming looked at Jack's attentive look and nodded continuously with satisfaction. Okay, talented person. The cleaning staff on the ship should learn from them. Otherwise, they can offer a bounty of 1 billion. This is not just about ivory. Jack, I suggest you stop being a pirate and stay on the ship to help me with cleaning. With your skills, I will give you 1,000, no, 20 million Baileys every month. This salary is the highest you can find anywhere in the world. Jack didn't dare to delay and showed an awkward smile when he heard Su Ming's words. Master Su Ming, it is my honor to serve you, how dare I ask you for money? At this time, Su Ming's men came over. Boss, Kaido is here. Su Ming nodded. Let him come over. When Kaido stepped onto the boat, the first thing he saw was Jack squatting on the ground wiping wine bottles. The veins on his forehead kept throbbing. What a bad luck. Su Ming stood up from the chair and walked to Kaido with a smile. It came pretty quickly. Kaido smiled awkwardly. It's not fast, if it were a little slower who knows what would happen. Master Su Ming, what are you going to do with this guy? Su Ming frowned frivolously. How to deal with it, isn't this the right way to deal with it? Seeing that Su Ming didn't seem to be joking, Kaido was stunned for 2 seconds, then he breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that this demon's personality has changed a lot over the years in the headquarters. He was really afraid that Su Ming would kill Jack in a rage and then vent his anger on the beast's pirates. With the title of the strongest creature, Kaido dares to mess with anyone in the sea, except the one in front of him, whom he really can't afford to mess with. There is a shadow in my heart. Not far away, Jack was also feeling relieved. I didn't expect that provoking such a big guy would be so easy. However, just as the two were rejoicing, Su Ming suddenly stepped forward, grabbed the horns on Kaido's head, and exerted force violently. Bang! Kaido, who was several meters tall, fell face first onto the deck, creating a large hole in the floor. Su Ming, who was smiling just a second ago, changed his expression faster than turning the pages of a book, and now looked at Kaido with dissatisfaction. Who told you to step with your left foot first when you board the ship? No, I'm so p***d off, lousy, I have to teach you a lesson today. Don't worry, I'm a one-size-fits-all person, beating you has nothing to do with Jack's matter. After Su Ming finished speaking, he turned around and gave Jack a kind smile. Jack, just clean your bottle. This has nothing to do with you, it has nothing to do with you at all. Come on, Kaido, we haven't seen each other for a long time, let's practice. Depth Perception I. Extreme Divine Sword Technique. Chapter 266 General Wano Kuni, brother, don't hit me in the face. On the deck, Kaido's screams continued to ring out. Su Ming's conquerors and armament hockey were like free, constantly venting on Kaido. The destructive power of top-level hockey makes every attack of Su Ming extremely terrifying. Even the body of Kaido, the strongest creature on land, sea and air, was easily broken, causing him pain deep in his bones. Kaido, who is nearly 8 meters tall, looks like a toy in Su Ming's hands. Whether it was a strength competition or a hockey competition, Su Ming completely defeated Kaido. In Su Ming's hands, Kaido didn't even dare to use his fruit ability to resist. He knew the temper of the man in front of him too well. Now Su Ming only attacks with hockey. But once he uses the power of his fruit, there's no guarantee what Su Ming will do. After all, among all the methods used by this old man, hockey can be said to be the most mediocre one. In case Su Ming gets unhappy and summons Susanoo, Kaido, who has used Thundering 8 trigrams all his life, might be used as Thundering 8 trigrams once. This was something he definitely didn't want to experience. Behind him, Jack, who was wiping the wine bottle with a cloth, heard Kaido's screams, and his clothes were already soaked with cold sweat. Jack's eyes kept drifting towards Kaido, but he didn't dare to turn his head openly. Every scream from Kaido made his hands tremble. Damn it, you're dead. Su Ming said that his beating of Kaido had nothing to do with him. But everyone could see that the man in front of him was venting his anger because of his own affairs. No matter how badly his boss Kaido was beaten, after Su Ming leaves, all this will come back to him tenfold or 100-fold. Finally, Jack wiped the wine in front of him and hurriedly knelt down and crawled to Su Ming's side. Master Su Ming, why don't you just hit me? 2 tears actually squeezed out of the eyes of the burly man Jack at this moment. Su Ming grabbed a horn on Kaido's head and turned to look at Jack. Hit you? Why would I hit you? Don't underestimate me because I'm a celestial dragon, but I'm different from other celestial dragons. I follow the rules. Su Ming one-finger Kaido. I beat him because he didn't get on the boat with his left foot according to my rules. It's definitely not because his subordinates offended me. Kaido, do you think you should fight? Kaido, whose face was bruised and swollen after being beaten by Su Ming, raised his head with difficulty, glared at Jack fiercely, and squeezed out words from between his teeth. You deserve it. If anyone comes in my door again without taking a left foot first, I will beat him to death. Jack. Su Ming nodded with satisfaction. Yes, this awareness is good. Someone, bring Jack a chair. You have to combine work and rest. Jack, you stay here for a while. We'll discuss your salary when I'm done. When Jack heard that Su Ming actually wanted him to watch from the side, he suddenly wanted to die. Kaido's screams on the deck continued for half a day. Advertisement. It was not until the sun was about to set that the horns on Kaido's head that Su Ming had been holding broke off due to the force, and Su Ming stopped with a feeling of unsatisfied control. Looking at Jack sitting on the chair, he was limp and pale, looking like he had been beaten to a pulp. Su Ming kicked Kaido, who was lying motionless on the ground. Wake up, wake up. Kaido climbed up with difficulty. Seeing Jack still sitting on the chair, two of his teeth were broken. When we get back, Lousy will physically skin him alive. It's so hateful. The boss himself was getting beaten and he was sitting on the side watching. Did you buy a ticket? Seeing that Su Ming had enough fun, his men hurriedly took the towel. After wiping his hands and drinking a sip of tea, Su Ming spoke slowly. I came to Wano Kuni this time to do something. Kaido, you have the historical text in your hand, right? Kaido was stunned for 2 seconds. The historical text itself naturally exists. Although he usually doesn't make it public, like most pirates, he is also interested in the great treasure mentioned by the Pirate King, and he doesn't want to miss it if there is a chance. If you want to obtain the great secret treasure, the historical text is the indispensable key. Every powerful person who obtains a key historical text will almost always hide it, hold it firmly in his hands, and never show it to others easily. If anyone else dared to ask himself this question, Kaido would definitely hit him with a stick to let him know why the flying stick is so black. But the person who spoke at this moment was Su Ming. Kaido hesitated for a moment and then nodded obediently. Yes, I put him on Ghost Island. If you need it, I can ask someone to get it for you. After being taught a lesson by Su Ming, Kaido became much more obedient. After weighing the pros and cons, I think it would be better to hand over the things. Su Ming nodded. Just make a copy. Wano Kuni should have more than one historical text. Su Ming has something in mind. Kaido understood immediately. Wano Kuni is not alone in his power. General Wano Kuni, Kurozumi Orochi, judging from his own intelligence, he must also have the historical text in his hands. Su Ming wanted to take the historical text from Kurozumi Orochi as well. I'll go contact the snake. I don't think he would dare to refuse your request, sir. Su Ming said nothing more and walked down the deck. Kaido grabbed Jack and followed him off the boat. Governor. Shut up. If you say one more word, I'll send you to Auntie's place as an exchange student. Jack shrank back in fear. The ant's personality is not as easy to talk to as Kaido. Wano Kuni, the Shogun's palace. Advertisement. The short Kurozumi snake paced back and forth in the room. Kiyoshiro, what do you think the youngest 5 elders from the world government is doing here in Wano Kuni? Wano Kuni is not under the rule of the world government. Kurozumi Orochi felt uneasy. Wano Kuni was not open to the outside world during his rule. Although we are not hostile to the world government, we are definitely not friendly either. Su Ming, the supreme leader of the world government, suddenly visited Wano Kuni, leaving him somewhat confused. He is a person with a dark personality, so when he encounters something, he will naturally think in this direction. What he is most worried about at this moment is that Su Ming may represent the world government and want to forcibly subdue Wano Kuni and seize his power. I heard that Su Ming is not an easy guy to get along with. Thinking of Su Ming's strength that was so powerful that even Kaido was afraid of him, Kurozumi became more and more worried. On the side, Denjiro, a retainer of Oden who hid his identity and transformed into Kiyoshiro, narrowed his eyes and looked at the giant snake pacing back and forth in front of him. He did not show any expression on his face, but kept sneering in his heart. This unfaithful fellow also has his moments of panic. It would be great if the 5 elders really came to kill him. It's a pity that such a big shot would never pay attention to this unpresentable guy. Damn it, if we can get that person to take action, all problems can be solved, and it is not impossible to restore the Kazuki Oden family in one fell swoop. Denjiro knew that if Su Ming was willing to take action, even if Kurozumi the snake had 8 lives after eating the Yamada no Orochi fruit, it would still be no problem to kill him. But I can't even get in touch with such a big shot. Kiyoshiro felt a little regretful, just at this moment. The guards of the mansion walked out of the door. General, Lord Ming Wang has come to see you personally. The big snake that was pacing in the room paused, looked at the guards outside the door, and narrowed his eyes. Kaido? Kurozumi Orochi's eyes rolled, although he and Kaido are in a superior subordinate relationship on the surface. But both of them knew that they were just using each other. But soon, the snake figured out the reason, Su Ming. Su Ming must want Kaido to do something. A smile appeared on Kurozumi Orochi's lips. Let him in. Yes, led by the guards, Kaido quickly arrived in front of the snake. Looking at the big snake in front of him, Kaido said directly, Kurozumi Orochi, you should have guessed who I am representing this time. I won't waste any more time talking nonsense. I'm going to make a copy of the historical text in your hand and give it to that gentleman. Kurozumi Orochi's eyes lit up. As expected, I guessed it right. It turns out that Su Ming suddenly came to Wano Kuni because he wanted the original historical text. And you just happen to have what the other person wants. Kurozumi Orochi's mind raced, and soon a smile appeared on his face. Since he had what Su Ming needed, maybe the two of them could reach a deal. Chapter 267 Pure Blood. Inside the house, Kaido saw that Kurozumi Orochi had not spoken for a long time, and his brows furrowed, with a hint of anger in his eyes. Big Snake, let me remind you that Su Ming is not someone you can mess with. He asked me to ask you for the historical text. This is to give you a chance. If you don't know what's going to happen, no one knows what will happen next. Kurozumi Orochi is still useful to him, and Kaido doesn't want this guy to kill himself. However, Kurozumi Orochi, who was sitting opposite, did not listen to Kaido's words. As he seldom played Wano Kuni, he thought that the so-called world government and 5 elders were just that. As for the night bar, it's just an ordinary small bar. If there is anything special, it is that the boss Su Ming is very strong, even stronger than the 4 emperors Kaido. But as long as he had what he needed, he believed that Su Ming would not do anything to him. Besides, Kaido and I are on the same side. Kaido is also the guardian of Wano Kuni. If a real fight were to happen, Kaido would not stand idly by. The more stupid a person is, the more confident he will be in his judgment once he makes it. Kurozumi Orochi is such a person. However, due to Kaido's status, he did not directly refute the other party's words. Kurozumi Orochi waved his hand indifferently, with a cunning smile on his face. Don't worry, Your Excellency Ming Wang. Since Lord Su Ming is visiting Wano Kuni in person, it's okay to let him take a look at the historical text. But I have only heard about this person but never seen him in person. How about this? Tell the servants to make a copy of the historical text. Lord Ming Wang and I will go to meet the 5 elders together. Kaido's eyes twitched when he heard Kurozumi Orochi's tone, which lacked any respect. Looking at Kurozumi Orochi was like looking at AR******D. It really shows that you have a lot of luck, seeking death in various ways. Su Ming is that devil. I wish I could stay away from him. You're a loser who can't even master hockey, and you dare to join in the fun in front of him? Seeing that Kaido didn't say anything, Kurozumi Orochi thought that Kaido was worried that he would snatch away the benefits he had gained from Su Ming. Kurozumi Orochi asked, My lord, is there anything inconvenient? Kaido took a deep look at Kurozumi Orochi and made a decision in his mind. It is better to cut ties with such a chess piece who has obvious shortcomings in his brain as soon as possible. The big snake is determined to die, and no one can stop it. As long as you don't get involved, love is whatever you want. Advertisement. Thinking of this, Kaido's face changed expression. Haha, nothing. Since you want to meet me, then meet me. Kurozumi Orochi showed excitement when he heard this. Okay, then please lead the way, Lord Ming Wang. Kiyoshiro, you must come with me. After all, you are an honored guest, and we must demonstrate the power of our Wano Kuni. Kaido, who had just stood up and was about to walk out the door, stumbled. He turned around and gave Kiyoshiro a strange look. A strong one? Him? With this kind of stuff, I can kill a whole row of them with just one stick? I don't even dare to say that I'm a strong man in front of Su Ming. How come you are so confident? Do you really want to show off your strength in front of Su Ming? Kurozumi Orochi thought Kaido was frightened by his toughness. Haha, Lord Ming Wang, don't be nervous. I certainly won't attack you. I'm just showing off our Wano Kuni's strength appropriately. Kaido waved his hand. Do as you like. Also, there is one more thing. I don't like the identity of the protector of the nation. You should find someone else to take this position. Just call me Kaido from now on. I'm afraid of being misunderstood. Kurozumi Orochi frowned. Kaido's words seemed to be distancing himself from me. There was a flash of displeasure in Kurozumi Orochi's eyes, but it was quickly hidden. Humph, when I reach a cooperation with Su Ming, the first person I will get rid of is you. Wano Kuni doesn't need 2 people in power. Looking at Kaido's back as he walked out of the house, a hint of sarcasm flashed in Kurozumi's eyes. Having tasted power, no one would be willing to share it with others. In Wano Kuni, Kaido is nominally the Gokoku Mayu under his own management. But in reality it is 1 country, 2 systems. Kiyoshiro, let's go meet this 5 elders. Kurozumi Orochi walked towards the door. Kiyoshiro nodded, suppressed his excitement, stood up and followed. Entertainment District. Advertisement. Wano Kuni Night Bar. Su Ming sat on the sofa, sipping his drink. Boom boom boom. There was a sudden knock on the door of the room. Su Ming said slowly, Come in. Kaido, a burly man, walked in. Adult Su Ming, did you bring the historical text? This. A hint of embarrassment flashed across Kaido's face. Master Su Ming, Kurozumi Orochi is willing to hand over the historical text to you, but he wants to meet you in person, so he came with me. Su Ming raised his eyebrows. Want to see me? Haha, fine, let him in. Su Ming had just finished speaking, and before his men could be notified, a burst of evil laughter was heard outside the door. Gooey, no need, Master Su Ming, I'm already here. Outside the door, a short, wretched man with a crown on his head, who looked out of place, walked in. Without waiting for Su Ming to speak, Kurozumi walked directly to the sofa opposite Su Ming, jumped up and sat down. Seeing Kurozumi Snake's actions, Everyone in the room except Su Ming had strange expressions. Kaido, who was standing at the door, opened his mouth several times but ultimately didn't utter a word. But the way he looked at Kurozumi Orochi was no different than looking at a dead person. Su Ming, however, was looking at Kurozumi Orochi in front of him with great interest. He was the general of Wano Kuni and the apparent highest authority. Actually, compared to Oden, I really think you are the best fit for the position of General Wano Kuni. Su Ming suddenly said something out of the blue. Everyone in the room was stunned. Kurozumi Orochi narrowed his eyes, dissatisfaction appeared on his wretched face, and his tone became gloomy. Master Su Ming, what does this mean? Kazuki Oden has always been the biggest taboo in Kurozumi Orochi's heart, and no one in Wano Kuni dares to mention this name in front of him. Even Kaido would avoid it on purpose, however, Su Ming now said it so openly. Su Ming couldn't help laughing when he saw Kurozumi the snake trying to stand up and using his legs to angrily fail to touch the ground. Looking at the Kurozumi snake, Su Ming waved his hands and said seriously, No, don't get me wrong, I just said the truth. Compared to Kazuki Oden, you are more in line with the image of Wano Kuni people that I know. With your height, I will be angry with anyone who says you are not a pureblood. Chapter 268 Kiyoshiro, are you making a wish here? On the chair, Kurozumi Orochi suddenly stood up. Su Ming, what do you mean? At first he didn't understand what Su Ming said. It wasn't until I heard Su Ming talking about my body shape that I realized what was going on. This is a way of harming yourself. Kurozumi Orochi's already fragile self-esteem was stimulated, and he stood up uncontrollably in anger. Big snake. You're looking for death. Kaido, who was standing at the door, was also shocked when he saw that Kurozumi's snake dared to get angry with Su Ming. I brought this guy here myself, don't let Su Ming blame me later. Su Ming looked at the big snake and smiled slightly, but he was not angry. From the moment this guy entered the room, he knew that this guy didn't take him seriously. As for the statement that he was willing to hand over the historical text to him, Su Ming didn't believe it at all. Kurozumi Orochi is such a greedy person that if you want to get something from him, you are destined to pay more. Facing Kaido's threat, Kurozumi snorted loudly. Kaido, this is Wano Kuni, not naval headquarters, and certainly not Marijoy of Celestial Dragons. The big snake stood on the chair, looked down at Su Ming and sneered. Master Su Ming, if you want the original text of history, that's fine. I can give it to you. But what will it cost you? No one can take what belongs to me from me. Behind him, Kiyoshiro could hardly suppress the excitement in his eyes. Isn't this just like someone giving you a pillow when you feel sleepy? Orochi's talent for seeking death is simply unbeatable. My trip here is completely unnecessary. Kaido behind him tried to stop him several times and almost got himself involved. Now he is mocking the big boss Su Ming. Kiyoshiro seemed to have seen Kurozumi the snake being chopped off by Su Ming's sword. Then we can find a way to get rid of Kaido. The Kazuki Oden family is destined to be great again. Kurozumi Orochi, you are so outrageous. Looks like Lousy has to teach you a lesson. Kaido on the side couldn't hold back any longer. The big snake taunted Su Ming with his face close to him, which was not only a sign of not taking his own life seriously. At the same time, he was also playing with Kaido's life. If it weren't for Su Ming's presence, all 10 sets of Thunder 8 trigrams would have been used up by now. Kaido's anger had reached its peak and he couldn't care about anything else. God knows what weird things this guy will do if he continues to talk. Seeing Kaido was about to take action, Kurozumi Orochi said with a cunning expression. Kaido, you dare to attack me? I have asked my men to hide the historical text. No one can find it except me. Kaido looked at the guy who was pulling him into the fire pit, and his eyes were almost spitting fire. TMD, Great Power Thunder 8, advertisement. Stop. Just as Kaido was about to take action, Su Ming, who had been watching the show from the side, suddenly called out to him. Kaido's expression froze. The move that was already half-breathing was held back abruptly, and an ugly smile was forced on his face. Master Su Ming, this guy really needs to be punished. Why don't you hand him over to me? I will make him behave in one day. This kind of guy who doesn't know his place won't behave himself unless he's punished. Kaido tried his best to distance himself from Kurozumi Orochi. Su Ming sat on the chair, resting his chin on his hand, and spoke slowly. Leave it to you? Can you produce more historical texts? Hearing this, Kurozumi Orochi, who was a little frightened, showed a bit of pride on his face. Sure enough, what I thought was right. As long as he holds the historical text in his hands, Su Ming will be cautious. Kaido, a guy with only muscles in his head, may have handed over the historical text to Su Ming and lost his trump card. In this case, he has no value to Su Ming. Thinking of this, a fierce look flashed in Kurozumi Orochi's eyes. Want to kill me? I'll use Su Ming to kill you later. After stopping Kaido, Su Ming turned to look at Kurozumi's snake. Tell me, what are the conditions? Kurozumi Orochi looked at Kaido with disdain and a smug smile appeared on his face. Everything is just as I thought. Kaido turned his head and rolled his eyes inwardly. Some people don't know what's going on until they're about to die. You are worthy of being the 5 elders. I admire your courage. Then I won't waste any more words. My first condition is to make Wano Kuni a member of the world government. Second, Wano Kuni enjoys the protection and rights of a member state, but does not pay the heavenly gold. Third, as Wano Kuni's admiral, I will still be treated as the highest noble in other member states. Fourth, behind him, Kiyoshiro couldn't help but sweat on his forehead as he listened to Kurozumi Orochi's endless words. Are you using the historical text in your hand as a magic lamp? Make a wish here? Kiyoshiro quietly took 2 steps back. The big snake is dead. What I need to consider now is whether there is any possibility of escaping. Seeing Kaido guarding the door and many night bar staff members in the corridor outside, Kiyoshiro suddenly felt a little regretful. If I had known that Kurozumi Orochi would be so suicidal, there would be no need for me to follow him. He originally wanted to add fuel to the fire of Kurozumi's snake so that he would irritate Su Ming. As a result, Kurozumi Orochi's intelligence and quotient were overestimated. I didn't say a word, but they took the initiative to push me into the fire pit, and no one could stop them. 8th, I will take 30% of the revenue from Wano-kuni Night Bar. The snake stated 8 conditions in one breath. Advertisement. The room was still silent. Kaido had already turned his head away to avoid having blood splattered on his face. Kurozumi Orochi stood on a chair, one hand on his waist, the other hand pinching the tip of his beard, his eyes wandering. Obviously, he is enjoying his bright future. Su Ming hugged his shoulders and looked at Kurozumi's snake as if he was looking at a clown, with a playful expression. Seeing that Kurozumi Orochi had stopped talking, Su Ming asked, "Is that all?" Kurozumi Orochi came back to his senses, clenched his fists and coughed twice to hide his embarrassment. Well, that's all for now. What do you think, Master Su Ming? As long as Master Su Ming agrees, Wano-kuni is willing to join the world government and follow Master Su Ming's lead in the future. My conditions are not excessive, right, Kaido? Kiyoshiro. How dare you ask if it's too much? The conditions proposed by Kurozumi Orochi were not so much 8 as just 1. It would be easier for people to accept if you just say directly that you want to be a 5 elders and only have rights but no obligations. How about you just call yourself Su Ming? When Kurozumi Orochi asked whether his conditions were too excessive, Kiyoshiro had already covered his eyes. Forget it, there is no way to escape. By using his own death to exchange for Orochi's death, as one of the 9 red scabbards, his mission was accomplished. Just when everyone thought Su Ming would get furious and crush the snake to death. Su Ming stood up slowly. It's not too much. I agree to all your conditions. What? Kaido's eyes widened. What the hell? Did I hear that right? Su Ming actually agreed to Dashi's outrageous condition? Turning his head and looking at Kurozumi Orochi, Kaido began to doubt his life. Is the historical text in his hand made of gold? That's not right. Even gold isn't that valuable. When Kurozumi heard that Su Ming agreed to his conditions, he couldn't suppress the excitement on his face. Lord Su Ming is very courageous. In this case, I will ask someone to get the historical text and give it to Su. No hurry. Su Ming suddenly interrupted Kurozumi Orochi. Now that you've stated your conditions, it's time to state mine. Kurozumi Orochi didn't care. Okay, Master Su Ming, go ahead. A smile appeared on Su Ming's face. He pulled out a modified revolver from his waist drawer. I just have one request. 8 wishes, 1 wish for 1 bullet. If it jams, you win. Someone, hold him down, don't let him run away. Chapter 269 Eyeliner. The night bar staff who had been standing behind Su Ming appeared behind Kurozumi Orochi almost instantly. Armament hockey attached to his hand and grabbed the snake's head, smashing it hard on the ground, smashing the floor into pieces. The sudden reversal made everyone present unable to even react to what was happening. Kiyoshiro widened his eyes in disbelief. So strong. The manager of the night bar just now was so fast that I couldn't see it clearly. Furthermore, the jet black armament hockey attached to his hands had obviously reached a high level. This guy, who had been following Su Ming from beginning to end and looked like an ordinary waiter, was much stronger than himself. Such a strong man has actually been an ordinary bar owner in Wano-kuni. Kiyoshiro felt that his worldview had been severely impacted. Kaido at the door also had his pupils shrink. Compared to Kiyoshiro, his eyesight is much better. The first time I saw the person following Su Ming, I could already tell that this person was a strong man. But I was still shocked when I saw this guy take action. Is your strength close to Jack's? Has this guy been hiding in Wano-kuni all along, or? Kaido didn't dare to think further. If this guy was intentionally hiding in Wano-kuni to act as Su Ming's spy, that means Su Ming had been wary of Wano-kuni or himself for a long time. I have been under Su Ming's surveillance for nearly 10 years. If I had any thoughts that offended Su Ming, I would probably be attacked immediately by Su Ming. However, this is still good. Kaido was more afraid of the second possibility. This bar owner who has always been following Su Ming like a little follower is really just an ordinary bar owner in the Yesei bar. Su Ming has many similar people under his command, so that such a strong man is completely inconspicuous in the night bar and can only play such a marginal role. Su Ming ignored what others were thinking. Holding the modified revolver, he loaded it with seastone bullets and walked step by step to the front of Kurozumi Orochi. Su Ming, you don't want the historical text anymore. Without me, no one would be able to find those historical texts. Kurozumi Orochi was visibly panicked. He didn't expect Su Ming to turn against him so easily. And once he strikes, he'll kill. Su Ming half knelt down, put the muzzle of the gun against Kurozumi's forehead, looked at him with a smile, raised his hand and snapped his fingers. Another staff member walked into the house. He held a thick stack of rubbings in his hand. Boss, the rubbings of the historical texts you requested are all ready. Advertisement. When Kiyoshiro saw the appearance of this night bar staff member, the knife in his hand fell to the ground. You. Although Kurozumi Orochi, who was pinned to the ground, could not see the staff member's appearance, he felt that the voice was very familiar. Until the staff of the night bar lowered his head and handed the rubbing in his hand to Su Ming. Kurozumi Orochi went completely crazy. You traitor. The staff member in front of him was none other than his subordinate who was assigned by him to hide the historical text. This is one of his most trusted retainers, who has followed him for nearly 10 years. It can be said that among all his subordinates, except Kiyoshiro, he is the one he trusts the most. Otherwise, he wouldn't be asked to do such an important thing. However, it is this guy who now calls Su Ming boss. Su Ming smiled, then took the rubbing and unfolded it in front of the big snake. It's okay. The rubbing is quite clear. After so many years of development, Khalifa has already cultivated the night bar into a top intelligence agent organization. At the same time, relying on the convenience of the bar's identity, spies are distributed among the powerful people of various forces. Logically speaking, a loser like Kurozumi Orochi is not worthy of being a waste of manpower at the night bar. But the other party is Wanakuna's general after all. Based on the principle of rather killing the innocent than letting the guilty go, they still placed several spies around him. Relying on the abundant funds at hand, Khalifa has placed several spies around the actual rulers of almost every small island with a kingdom. Normally, these people are no different from ordinary retainers, and are even more loyal than ordinary retainers. But once Su Ming gave the order, these people would be like a sharp knife, stabbing directly into the heart of the person being monitored. The Kurozumi snake on the ground struggled a few times, but was unable to break free from the bar manager's hands. It could only look at Su Ming with resentment. You guy, you are teasing Wu. You were able to get the historical text without me knowing. Su Ming smiled. If I say you're stupid, you're really not smart. Do I need to expose my men for such a small matter? Su Ming turned and looked at Kurozumi Orochi's retainers. Okay, your mission to monitor Kurozumi Orochi is complete. Report to the headquarters tomorrow and receive 5 billion berries. From now on, you will be a core member of the night bar. Go ahead. Yes, boss, I'll take my leave. Su Ming waved his hand and looked at the Kurozumi snake with a frivolous frown. Bang. There was a gunshot, and the sea stone bullet penetrated the body. The Kurozumi snake fell to the ground, its head hitting the floor with a dull thud, and red and white objects scattered all over the ground. Su Ming blew away the hot air coming out of the muzzle of the gun, but was not in a hurry. Okay, stop pretending. I know the power of the Yamada no Orochi fruit. Advertisement. As Su Ming finished speaking, the body of the Kurozumi snake, which was originally dead, began to swell and wriggle in a strange posture. In the blink of an eye, a strange snake with several heads appeared in the room. The huge body made the originally spacious room seem a little crowded. Su Ming. Snake fruit mythical beast Yamada no Orochi form. The user is equivalent to having 8 lives. The snake head dancing in the air was full of hatred in its eyes. Su Ming looked up at the terrifying Yamada no Orochi, but he was not panicked at all. It's a very strong fruit, it's wasted. Without waiting for the snake to say anything, the bar manager instantly jumped onto the snake's head. Emission. As the voice fell, the fist wrapped in high-level armament hockey punched out. The body of Kurozumi the snake was smashed into the ground again. The eyes of the 8 heads all turned white, as if they were unconscious. Su Ming did not hesitate and pulled the trigger again. 10 minutes later, there was no movement from Kurozumi the snake's body on the ground. Su Ming threw the empty revolver aside, looking casual as if he had done something insignificant. It is said that gambling is harmful to the body. Unfortunately, it didn't get stuck. Kaido on the side hasn't recovered from his shock yet. He has always known that Su Ming's night bar is very powerful. But he really didn't think that he would be this strong. The manager of any bar is as powerful as the elite vice admiral. What is even more terrifying than the strength is the spy intelligence of the night bar. Night bar was able to quietly infiltrate the snake and hide for 10 years, then. Kaido shuddered. He didn't dare think about it anymore. Su Ming turned and looked at Kaido. The big snake is dead. You are more familiar with this place. Nominate someone. Also, I don't want Wanakuna's next general to be this kind of idiot again. Su Ming said and turned around to leave. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded outside the room. Wait, Master Su Ming, please let me join the night bar. A girl wearing a kimono and dressed like a tomboy ran out and looked at Su Ming with excitement in her eyes. Kaido was stunned for 2 seconds before reacting and yelling. Yamato. You be asterisk 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 D. This is not the place for you. Get lost and go back to Onigashima. Chapter 270. Killing one's relatives for the sake of justice? Outside the door, Yamato stumbled in with shackles on his hands. Coming in front of Su Ming, Yamato knelt down directly in front of Su Ming. Lord Su Ming, please let me join the night. Kaido's face showed anger and he shouted sharply. Hole. Didn't Lousy tell you to stay on Ghost Island? Who told you to be here? What qualifications do you have to be here? Go back to Ghost Island right now. Kaido was really panicked when he saw Yamato wanted to join the night bar. The strength displayed by Su Ming's night bar just now really scared him. Kaido finally discovered that what people feared most about Su Ming was not the 5 elders, but his identity as the owner of the night bar. Even for a low-class guy like Kurozumi Orochi, the night bar actually had spies around him. Kaido is almost certain that anyone with a certain influence in the ocean today has people from the night bar around him. As long as Su Ming wanted, he could turn the entire ocean upside down in an instant. In the past, Kaido was afraid of Su Ming, but today, that fear has turned into terror. In just over a decade, Su Ming has quietly become the uncrowned king of the ocean. Such people are really dangerous. Hearing Kaido asking him to go back, Yamato, who was kneeling on one knee, turned his head away stubbornly. No, I have made up my mind. I will join the Night Color no matter what. Even you, my father, can't stop me. I decided on this a long time ago, and no one can stop me. Su Ming raised his eyebrows and suddenly became interested. You said you wanted to join the Night Bar a long time ago? Hearing Su Ming asking, Yamato's face lit up and he nodded quickly. Yes, Master Su Ming, I have wanted to join the Night Bar for a long time, but I never had the chance. Reason? Yamato is Kaido's daughter. Su Ming doesn't believe that Kaido, the guy whom he subdued with force, would say anything good about him behind his back. Although Kaido appeared to be very respectful to him now, he had no choice. To be honest, the two of them seemed to be taking advantage of each other. Su Ming needs Kaido, the four emperors, to maintain the stability of the sea and expand the market. Kaido also needs Su Ming's protection and financial support. But in recent years, as Su Ming's strength has increased and the scale of the Night Bar has expanded, the balance has been quietly broken. Kaido could only try to please Su Ming by lowering his attitude. No matter how he thought about it, Yamato had no reason to be so fascinated by the Night Bar and want to join it. However, Yamato on the ground really gave Su Ming a reason that he couldn't refuse. I'm going to find Ace. Advertisement. Su Ming was stunned for a second, then he reacted, touched his chin, and looked Yamato up and down carefully. You and Ace know each other. Hearing Ace's name from other people's mouths, Yamato, who was like a tomboy, blushed rarely. To reply to Lord Su Ming, we know each other, we are friends. As Yamato's voice became smaller and smaller, the expression on Su Ming's face became subtle. Is this a melon? You little brat, you're pretty smart in this area? Yamato looks to be around 20 years old now, which is about the same age as Ace. Besides, Ace's eccentric personality is indeed attractive to girls. So, you joined the Night Bar just to find Ace? Yes, Ace and I had a deal. Yamato raised his head, as if he had mustered up his courage, and spoke in a firm tone. Su Ming used his observation haki to see that Yamato was not lying, and a smile appeared on his face. Not bad, I like this girl. Kaido, is this really your daughter? Why doesn't she look like you at all? Kaido stood aside, looking a little embarrassed. It's true that girls can't be kept when they grow up. He looked at his daughter again, whose personality was completely different from his own. Kaido finally realized that the little girl had grown up. But as the feeling of being an old father arose, Kaido also realized another problem. It seems like the cabbages in my own garden are about to be eaten by someone. Kaido. Su Ming smiled and walked over to Yamato, grabbed his shoulders and pulled him up. Although Yamato is a girl, she has perfectly inherited Kaido's terrifying physical fitness. However, when Su Ming's hands grabbed her shoulders and lifted her up, she felt an irresistible strange force. So strong. Just like Ace said, Yamato, who is straightforward, blurted out while looking at Su Ming. Su Ming raised his eyebrows and became interested. Oh, it seems Ace has told you a lot about me. Tell me about it. Yamato nodded. Well, Ace told me that Master Su Ming is his uncle. He has been training him since he was a child and helping him improve his strength. Su Ming hugged his shoulders and smiled. Yes, I worried about this kid a lot in those years. Advertisement, what else did he say? Yamato continued. He also said that his biggest dream is to defeat you one day. Su Ming chuckled. This dream is a bit far-fetched. By the way, Master Su Ming, Ace also said that when he becomes stronger, he will drag you to practice with him and help you train using your training methods. But his expression is always weird when he says this. Is there anything different about your training methods? Can you tell me a little bit about it? Yamato's eyes were full of innocence. Su Ming, who was originally eating melons, had a black line on his forehead. You little brat, now that you've grown wings, you still want to train me? Hearing Yamato's innocent question, Su Ming showed a malicious smile on his face. No problem. Not only will I tell you, but I'll let you see with your own eyes how I trained that brat Ace. At Naval Headquarters, Ace, who was wearing a military uniform but was still locked in the room by Garp, suddenly sneezed. Ah. Ace rubbed his nose. Strange, why'd I suddenly feel a little cold on such a hot day? Humph, the old man won't let me out. I don't want to be a Marine. It's no use locking me up for any longer. On the Ghost Island, Su Ming looked at Yamato. Okay, since you know Ace, I'll let you go in through the back door. But Ace is not at the Night Bar. I have assigned him to the Marine. If you are willing, from today on, you will be a member of the Marine. I will assign you a specific rank when we return. Kaido, who was originally watching the show, staggered and almost fell to the ground. Master Su Ming, isn't this inappropriate? I can accept joining the Night Bar. What's the point of joining Marine? Turn around and catch yourself. However, before Su Ming could speak, Yamato spoke first. Did Ace go to Marine? Well, I heard that the Marine has a lot of rules, but since Ace is here. Okay, I'm willing to join the Marine. Kaido. This rebellious son. Look back at me. Your dad is 4 emperors, pirates 4 emperors. Do you want to sacrifice your own relatives for the sake of justice or what? Chapter 271 The Truth of History. Although Kaido was extremely reluctant about Yamato joining Marine, he still kept his mouth shut under the intimidation of Su Ming. Su Ming sat back on the sofa and waved to them. Yamato, when I leave Wano-kuni, you will come back to the headquarters with me. Kaido, Wano-kuni should elect a new general as soon as possible. I don't want to hear about Wano-kuni's chaos. If you can't, I'll let someone else take over. Dowager's territory is well managed. Kaido wiped the sweat from his forehead. Yes, Master Su Ming, don't worry, I'll get someone to do it right away. Just kidding, if Su Ming really lets Dorag take over Wano-kuni, then my good days will be over. The leader of the revolutionary army is not as easy to control as a loser like Kurozumi Orochi. Su Ming looked at Kaido deeply and gave a meaningful smile. This is also for Yamato's sake, giving Kaido a chance to depend on him. Otherwise, Whitebeard has already fallen, and Su Ming, who is about to end the Four Emperors era, is planning to target either him or Big Mom. But now it seems that Kaido is still on the right track. Su Ming waved to the people in the room. Everyone, go down. Yes, sir. Inside the room, Su Ming looked at several rubbings of historical texts piled on the coffee table. Recorded here are the secrets that celestial dragons try very hard to hide. Even for Su Ming, there was still a ripple in his heart at this moment. Hidden secrets always have great appeal to people. It's like a light in the dark, impossible to control. The rubbings are arranged one by one. Su Ming, who had already exchanged for a language grandmaster, had no difficulty reading. See Circle Calendar Year 1. The visitor from the sky came with God's goodwill. God teaches people, spreads wisdom, and spreads the seeds of science and technology to the world. The sea is undergoing a new transformation, and a power called the devil is quietly emerging. God led everyone to resist the devil, but when we arrived at the final place, it turned out that all of this was God's will. Su Ming sorted out the useful information in the historical text. The so-called blank 100 years of history has finally been revealed. Looking at the historical text on the table, an arc of electricity flashed across Su Ming's fingertips. In an instant, the rubbing of the historical text turned into powder and disappeared into the air. Su Ming closed his eyes and leaned most of his body on the sofa, with a rare trace of fatigue on his face. There is not much information recorded in these historical texts, and some parts cannot even be connected. But from those few words, Su Ming still found some useful information. The writers of historical texts should be the indigenous people of this world. Advertisement: the so-called gods are most likely the current celestial dragons. To be more precise, he is the actual ruler of celestial dragons. From the sky? When Su Ming heard these words, the first thing that came to his mind was the moon. If he hadn't intervened, Enel in the original story would have landed on the moon. Moreover, in this world, there's life on the moon, but it looks a bit desolate. But what made Su Ming even more confused were the last two sentences, which Su Ming did not fully understand. The power of the devil should be referred to as devil fruit. In other words, devil fruit is something that only appears after the so-called god arrives. But why does this god still want to lead the indigenous people to resist the power of the devil? Later he said that all this was God's plan. These two sentences always give people a sense of contradiction. Su Ming shook his head, suppressed all distracting thoughts, took a deep breath and slowly opened his eyes. It seems that we really need to collect all the historical texts. There was a gleam in Su Ming's eyes. He had a vague feeling in his heart. The two contradictory sentences just now may involve the reason why Celestial Dragons wants to hide the historical text. Maybe this is the way to defeat I Am. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly there was a knock on the door from outside. Come in. Outside the door, the bar manager nodded respectfully to Su Ming. Boss, someone is causing trouble in the night bar. The man has been subdued now. What do you think we should do? Su Ming was stunned. Nighttime bar riot. Since Kaido, there are very few people who are so brave. These guys at sea have been too honest in recent years, so honest that Su Ming finds them a bit boring. Su Ming suddenly became interested in this troublemaker. Moreover, the fact that he can come to this unopened country shows that he has some abilities. Bring him here, I want to see him, the bar manager said with some embarrassment. Boss, it's not one, it's three. 3? Su Ming couldn't believe his ears. Strange things happen every year, but this year there are more of them. Okay, bring them all here. I want to see which big shot is so bold as to cause trouble in the night bar. Advertisement. A moment later, 3 young pirates wearing seastone shackles came to Su Ming. Looking at the 3 people in front of him, Su Ming laughed. Wow, they are all acquaintances. Eustace Kid, Skulikman Apu, Basil Hawkins. Compared to Su Ming, the 3 locked people couldn't laugh at all. Sabodi Archipelago, the scene where Su Ming killed the 5 elders is still engraved in the hearts of several people. Even though they are still a long way from the beginning, they have grown a lot. But the monster in front of him could easily defeat the 4 emperors. Su Ming stood up and walked in front of the 3 people, stroking his chin. What? Being a pirate doesn't make money, so you're going to be a bandit king instead. Are you going to rob my bar? Su Ming looked at the 3 people with a smile on his face. But when the 3 heard these words, they felt a chill down their spines. It's over. I've really hit a wall this time. I swear to God, I just drank a few glasses of wine and accidentally broke a few bottles. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. At most, it was just a few words of praise. Isn't it a common knowledge that when you are in the underworld, you just pretend and run away? Who would have thought that in such an ordinary tavern, the manager's strength was close to that of a Marine Admiral? 13 was tied up before he could even finish packing, and he didn't even have a chance to escape. Seeing that the three of them were silent, Su Ming curled his lips. If you don't want to erect a monument here, tell me right now. There was no murderous intent on Su Ming's face, and there was even a hint of joking in his words, making it hard to guess whether Su Ming really wanted to kill them or was just saying it. But no matter what, the three of them didn't dare to gamble. Basil Hawkins, who was always superstitious, subconsciously took out the cards to count for himself. He had just taken the cards out of his arms when a flash of lightning instantly pierced through the cards in his hand. The arc of electricity passed by his temples. Did I ask you to speak and tell fortunes? Cold sweat trickled down Basil Hawkins's temples. The cards in his hand that were pierced by lightning fell to the ground. At that moment just now, he didn't even have time to activate his ability. If the person in front of me really wants to kill me, even if I have 10,000 substitutes, my chance of survival will be 0. I'll give you one more chance. Tell me what you were doing in Wano-kuni and why you were causing trouble in the bar. If I don't say it. Su Ming looked at the three of them and gave a wicked smile. I heard that many of Wano-kuni's nobles have special hobbies. Although you three are average looking, there might be someone who likes this. Let's just consider it as expanding our business. Su Ming looked at the three of them and said with a smile. The three of them stared at Su Ming in disbelief. Kid, who was originally prepared to be stubborn and thought that it would be no big deal if he died, quickly swallowed back the words that were about to come out of his mouth. A man of insight is a wise man. Now is not the time to be stubborn. Chapter 272 Su Ming. I don't eat beef. Under Su Ming's coercion, Kid and the other two had no choice but to give in and honestly tell the whole story of why they came to Wano-kuni and how they caused trouble in the bar. The main reason why the three came to Wano-kuni was to challenge Kaido of the Beasts. The death of Whitebeard made these fledgling pirates feel restless. Su Ming looked at the three and asked, so, you want to challenge Kaido and ride on the 4 emperors? That's right, Whitebeard has fallen, a new era has begun, and it's time for Kaido to step down from the position of 4 emperors, Kid said firmly. Looking at Kid who seemed to be making trouble in heaven, Su Ming couldn't help but clap his hands. You know what, this guy is quite similar to his nephew Luffy in some ways. Luffy is dumb, and this guy is reckless. In short, they are all brainless guys who dare to provoke anyone. Okay, I like young people with ambitions. I think you can definitely achieve your dream. Seeing that his idea was praised by Su Ming, Kid showed a proud smile on his face. Obviously he didn't understand Su Ming's temper. When the bar manager heard Su Ming say this, he quietly walked behind him and looked at him with some sympathy in his eyes. Our boss rarely gives people affirmation. If it is given, it often means that someone is going to be unlucky. The facts were just as he thought. Without waiting for Kid to speak, Su Ming changed the subject. So in the next few years at the bar, I hope you can make good reforms, try to make up for the bar's losses as soon as possible, and then realize your dreams. Take him down, wash him, and dress him up properly so that the guests won't find fault with him. Kid. Wait, Master Su Ming, didn't I tell you? Don't pull me, I don't want to receive any customers. F*K, let me go. The bar manager, who had been prepared for a long time, grabbed Kid by the back of the collar and walked out. The smile on Kid's face disappeared and his panic was visible to the naked eye. The bar manager saw that Kid was really dishonest, frowned, turned around and attacked him with a knife. There was no more noisy sound from Kid in the room. The two of them walked out, dragging Kid, who was like a dead dog. Not long after, Kid disappeared, and the bar manager came back alone and stood silently behind Apu and Hawkins again. Apu. Hawkins. Brother, don't stand here, I'm scared. Su Ming glanced at the corridor and curled his lips. Advertisement. Let him tell me why he's causing trouble. Who wants to listen to his dreams? Do you want me to turn around for him or something? Apu and Hawkins stood there, not daring to move, for fear that any unnecessary movement would make Su Ming unhappy and cause him to follow in Kid's footsteps. It's so scary, this guy is a devil. No wonder even a vicious pirate like Kaido is so obedient. If the three of them challenged Kaido, the worst that could happen if they lost would be death, and there was a high probability that they would be thrown into jail. Although they were defeated, they still had honor in defeat, so they were not too scared. Even if the news gets out, it will be very face-saving. But when I fell into the hands of the man in front of me, he was actually going to sell me like a duck. We all work on the sea. If people knew that I was sold as a duck, how could I face people? Immediate career end. Su Ming circled around the two of them. The clothes of the two men were already soaked with cold sweat. They had to maintain the same posture for a long time without any movement, and it felt like ants were crawling on their bodies. Uncomfortable, tortured. However, Su Ming's next words made the two cautious people completely despair. Go, take them down with you, Apu. Hawkins. Wait a minute, Master Su Ming, you need to give us an explanation for what happened to us. Su Ming touched his chin. You are too quiet, I don't like it to be too quiet. Hawking. Apu. That's not what you said just now, sir. Don't pull me, I don't want to go. Hawkins, who had always maintained the aura of a cool and handsome man, could no longer hold it in. Compared to Kid and Apu, my own special cat is definitely the more popular one, so my workload has doubled. Su Ming sat back on the sofa, poured a glass of red wine, shook the goblet, and looked serious. Yeah, you said it just now, I'll get used to it now. Su Ming waved at the bar manager with a hint of impatience on his face. Go ahead, take them down, don't waste time. They are all young people with dreams. The sooner you pay for the losses, the sooner you can realize your dreams. I am just too kind, tisk tisk. Apu and Hawkins looked desperate. This devil, advertisement. The bar manager stepped forward. Don't touch me, I won't go, Master Su Ming, I am willing to submit to you. No, I don't want to go, Master Su Ming, I can do a lot for you. Apu and Hawkins shouted at Su Ming, their eyes full of earnestness. Su Ming, however, remained unmoved. The bar manager thought of the dishonest kid before, and without any nonsense, he hit the two men on the back of their necks twice, making them sleep like babies. The room fell silent again. After a while, the bar manager came back. Boss, everyone is locked up. What should we do with them next? We really need to. The bar manager asked tentatively. Su Ming waved his hand to interrupt him. Of course, he couldn't really sell these three guys out. The fruit abilities of the three are all quite strong, and if they are cultivated, they will all be of great use. Especially Kid, this guy's fruit ability has great potential for development. And there is also Conqueror's Hockey, a ticket to become a top-level warrior. Now that you have encountered him, it would be unreasonable not to conquer him. But this guy is a tough guy. In the original book, he was locked up by Kaido for such a long time, but he didn't give in. Su Ming had to think of other ways to dampen his enthusiasm. Su Ming drank the red wine in the glass. How about this? First give them a change of clothes, and arrange for them to be waiters in the bar, and let them work for a full year before we talk about it. But boss, we never have male waiters in our bar. This outfit. Su Ming rolled his eyes. Did I say I would give them men's uniforms? Just give them a few large-sized uniforms. Well, this can also stimulate consumption among special groups of people. Bar manager. 6. This is so celestial dragons. Su Ming threw a Den Den Mushi to the bar manager. I'm going back to Marine Ford tomorrow. Keep this Den Den Mushi and keep an eye on Wanakuna's movements. If Kaido shows any unusual behavior, report it to me. I'll come back in a year. Kid and the other three don't need any special treatment, nor do they need to be suppressed. If they are really dishonest, throw them to a transgender bar for a few days. Chapter 273. I was born with talent. Upon learning that Su Ming was leaving, Kaido hurried to the night bar and happened to see Su Ming sitting alone at the bar tasting wine. Walking in front of Su Ming, Kaido leaned forward with a respectful attitude. Adult Su Ming. Su Ming drank the wine in the glass. Has General Wanakuna's matter been dealt with? Yes. Who is it? Still from the Kurozumi family. Hearing this, Su Ming glanced at Kaido and gave him a meaningful smile. Kaido once again arranged for someone from the Kurozumi family to be the daimyo of Wanokuni. Of course he had his own selfish motives. After all, without Kurozumi Orochi, the Kurozumi family would be easier for Kaido to control. Wanokuni will soon become his one-man show. But Su Ming had no intention of exposing Kaido's little tricks. As long as Wanokuni is stable and remains within its sphere of influence, it doesn't matter who manages it. I will leave tomorrow. Yamato, come back to the headquarters with me. Yes, I will personally send you off tomorrow. Kaido ordered a drink for himself and sat next to Su Ming. The two chatted intermittently. Soon, the waiter came over with drinks. Your wine, sir. Well, put it here. Kaido took the wine and was about to drink it, but suddenly realized something and turned to look at the familiar yet unfamiliar bar waiter with a look of disbelief. Kid? All I saw was Kid wearing a large-sized women's work uniform for a night bar. Although it was a large size, Kid, who was of a strong build, still managed to stretch it tight. He didn't even dare to make any big movements, for fear that he would accidentally tear the clothes. Seeing that Kaido recognized him, Kid quickly turned his head. I recognize the wrong person, it's so embarrassing. How dare I challenge Kaido after this? Kid lost his mind and ran back to the bar. Su Ming shook his wine glass and watched the scene with interest. Kaido was petrified on the spot. Master Su Ming, what's going on? As one of the four emperors, Kaido certainly has his own sources of intelligence. Kaido pays attention to every talented newcomer in the world. After all, he was known as the Pirates' Gold Medal Mentor, and every year there were many ignorant guys who came to challenge him. However, the end result for these guys was basically either that they were beaten to the point where they could not take care of themselves, or that they surrendered to their own side. The main reason why I could recognize Kid was because he had conquerors on him. If we can tame and train such a guy, he will definitely become a top combat force in the future. Advertisement. After learning that Kid wanted to challenge him, Kaido even hoped to meet him earlier. But he never expected that their first meeting would be like this. Su Ming sat on the chair, shaking the wine glass in his hand with a smile on his face. Nothing, they just made trouble in my bar and broke some bottles and cans. Isn't this working to pay off the debt? Kaido. Awesome. Nowadays, the newcomers are really more powerful than each other. Kaido looked away and asked curiously, Master Su Ming, how long have you caught this guy? Guys like Kid who have conqueror's qualifications are all arrogant and it takes a lot of time to conquer them. But I seem to have heard news about Kid at sea a few days ago, and how come in the blink of an eye, he was completely subdued by Su Ming and thrown here to serve the dish. In other words, it only took Su Ming a few days to subdue Kid. Kaido couldn't help but want to learn. If I learn Su Ming's skill, will I still worry about not having enough talent under my command in the future? How long? Su Ming put down his wineglass, touched his chin, and thought about it. Not long after, he came in the morning. I don't need any training, he just started working right away. Kaido. It sounds like Kid was hired to be a waiter. No, he is a waiter now. That doesn't make sense, how the hell did he become a waiter? Kaido got himself into trouble and his brain CPU almost burned out. No, sir, that's not what I meant. I meant, how did you subdue this guy in such a short time? Su Ming heard this and thought about it seriously again. This is more complicated. Sir, please teach me a couple of moves. I'm really short of manpower right now. Kaido's eyes were full of anticipation. Okay, come here and I'll tell you quietly. Kaido nodded excitedly and moved closer to Su Ming. I told him that if he didn't behave, I would throw him into a bar for transsexuals. Kaido's eye twitched. Master Su Ming, I have to say something. You are only trying to calm him physically, but you can't calm him down mentally. Su Ming looked Kaido up and down twice, until Kaido felt uneasy, then he looked away. Are you a pirate? How come you don't have any basic manners? I just need people. Why'd I need hearts? Isn't it enough to just beat the dishonest people until they become honest? Do I still need to persuade him? You call me sir now? Are you influenced by me? Kaido. Advertisement, it seems that there is nothing wrong with it. I was also defeated by the person in front of me. Kaido felt as if his mind was suddenly enlightened, and his whole outlook was opened up. This is not Five Elders, this is simply the godfather of pirates. Roger just relies on the fact that he was born earlier, so he has to call this person, senior, even though he was born 2 years later. Kaido's eyes rolled. Sir, you see you are not short of men. I will pay double what Kid owes the bar. Can you hand this man over to me? Although Kid has been detained by Su Ming, Kaido is still unwilling to give up. Su Ming raised his eyebrows. You want Kid? Kaido nodded expectantly. My lord, please make any conditions you want, and I will agree to them all. Su Ming looked at Kaido again. Kaido thought Su Ming suspected that he had ulterior motives, so he hurried to explain. Sir, don't worry. I really just have too few people under me who can handle things on my own. I don't have any other intentions. You have so many powerful people under you, so you don't need one more. Look, Kid has conquerors here too. It would be a waste for him to stay here and serve the dishes. Su Ming smiled. That makes sense. I'll leave it to you, Kid. Real. Thank you, sir. Kaido didn't expect Su Ming to be so easy to talk to and directly gave Kid to him. Su Ming raised his hand and snapped his fingers. The bar manager came over. Boss. Go. Prepare some clothes for Kaido too. He will be working here for Kid from now on. If anyone dares to leave his post, tell me and I will deal with him myself. Yes, boss. The tavern manager nodded and turned to look at Kaido. Come on, follow me to get the clothes. Kaido. No, Master Su Ming, that's not what I meant. Su Ming smiled and patted Kaido's shoulder. Don't say anything, I understand. Just do your best. I'm counting on you. Take him away. Seeing that Su Ming was not joking, Kaido finally panicked. No, sir, I was just joking. Su Ming smiled slightly. Don't you think it's a pity for Kid to stay here? Kaido broke free from the bar manager's hand and spoke hurriedly. No, sir, you heard me wrong. I really heard me wrong. I meant that you have a good eye. Kid is really G suitable for serving dishes. Just the way you held the wine just now is something most people can't do in 8 or 10 years. He was born to do this job. Only by keeping him here can he play his best role. Chapter 274 Returning to the Headquarters, Tough Ace. Naval Headquarters, Marine Fleet Ideographic Period. As soon as Su Ming walked down the deck, he saw Hina and Smoker already waiting at the dock. When they saw Su Ming, they first saluted. Su Ming noticed that after the Summit War, the military ranks on both of them had changed. Hina was promoted from colonel to rear admiral. Smoker's move was even more exaggerated, as he jumped directly from the branch vice admiral to the headquarters vice admiral. Although there was no nominal change in military rank, the power and resources at one's disposal increased several times. After all, the military rank of the headquarters is 3 levels higher than that of the branch. Even Su Ming couldn't help but marvel at the speed at which the two upgraded. You have to know that among the classmates at that time, except for Su Ming, the highest rank among other students was only rear admiral of the branch. Comparing the two, the gap is immediately apparent. But after thinking about it, Su Ming understood the reason. After all, the two of them are very close to him and are part of his faction. Sengoku would promote both of them even for his own sake. Su Ming looked at the two of them and smiled. Okay, how come we're already feeling unfamiliar after not seeing each other for a while? You are now Marine Admirals, so are you so free that you actually came to the dock to pick me up in person? Thinking back to when I was a rear admiral, Su Ming acted like an experienced person, which made Smoker and Hina feel itchy. You still have the nerve to mention when you were the rear admiral. You were the head of logistics at that time, and the only thing missing was a full year off. I have seen how relaxed Su Ming was when he was riding in rear admiral. Now, the two of them have been running around on the sea all day and have hardly any time to eat, and the word, dissatisfaction, is almost written on their faces. Seeing that the two were looking at him with increasingly resentful eyes, Su Ming smiled awkwardly, touched his nose and changed the subject. Yeah, let's not talk about the past. You guys didn't come here just to pick me up, did you? Is there something else? Smoker took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Vice Admiral Garp asked us to come find you. He told us to go to his place first when you come back. He has something important to tell us. Garp, that old man, has something to ask me, and it was Smoker and Hina who delivered the message. Obviously not business, and what makes Garp so concerned about private matters? Su Ming's mind changed. Okay, I got it, I'll be right there. Yamato, take down your luggage and follow me, advertisement. Su Ming called out to the people behind him. Yes, Master Su Ming, I'll be right there. Only a slightly labored voice was heard from the deck. Smoker and Hina looked up. Yamato, who had changed into a military uniform, walked down tremblingly carrying a package that was more than 10 times bigger than her. With every step he took, the wooden planks creaked. Su Ming covered his face speechlessly. He really didn't expect that Yamato, who looked like a tomboy on weekdays, was actually a person who could live a good life. I had clearly told him before he came that the naval headquarters had everything and he didn't need to bring anything. Yamato also made it clear that he understood. As a result, when Su Ming saw the package, he suspected that she had emptied the ghost island. Su Ming was just about to urge this guy to say something. Suddenly I felt a pain in my waist. Hiss, Hina had come behind him at some point, with a sinister expression on her face, and whispered sinisterly in Su Ming's ear. Master Su Ming, you are amazing. You have only been in Wano Kuni for a few days, and you have brought back another one? Looking at the age of the little girl, she is only in her early 20s, right? Hina did not hide the jealousy in her words. Smoker gave Su Ming a look that told him to fend for himself, and turned his head away tactfully. Su Ming smiled awkwardly. Misunderstanding, this is a misunderstanding, this girl is here to see Ace. Hina, let go, how can you pinch someone and use the hockey of armament? As he spoke, Yamato also walked in front of Su Ming. Master Su Ming, I'm sorry, there are too many things. Where are we going now? Hina let go of her hand, and Su Ming coughed lightly to adjust his expression. Well, I have to go meet Ace now, you come with me. Real. Yamato was excited to see Ace as soon as he got off the boat. Su Ming glanced at Hina, as if to say, I think you should believe it now. Hina curled her lips, but the jealousy in her heart had already disappeared for the most part. It's not enough to have sisters Ziyuan and Khalifa, you're still flirting with other girls. During this period, the girl from Nine Snake Island has been coming to the headquarters quite often. She's a pirate and she's almost settling down here. Su Ming smiled awkwardly. Hancock is indeed a little crazy about feelings. Advertisement. Even Su Ming sometimes finds it hard to cope with it. Seeing that Hina was showing signs of jealousy again, Su Ming quickly changed the subject. Since old man Garp asked you to come to me, there must be something important. I won't waste time here. I'll go first and come back to find you guys. Without waiting for Hina and Smoker to reply, Su Ming picked up Yamato and disappeared in front of them. Hina was left staring at Su Ming's disappearing back, stamping her feet in anger. Damn it, Hina is so p******** off, Naval Headquarters, Garp Private Courtyard. Su Ming and Yamato had just walked to the door and hadn't even entered when they heard Garp's roar from inside the house. Ace. Are you trying to p******* me off to death? What's wrong with being a Marine? You shoulder justice and are respected. It's much better than being a pirate. Stinky old man, don't say anything more, it's the same thing every day. I'm fed up with it even if you're not. Anyway, no matter what you say, I won't be a Marine. You little brat, your uncle arranged for you to be a Marine. Why don't you wait for your uncle to come back and tell him? He will definitely skin you alive. Inside the house, Ace paused as he heard Garp mention Su Ming. Su Ming still has a great deterrent effect on him. After all, no matter how harshly that old man Garp spoke, the most he could do was beat himself half to death. But if Su Ming takes action, he will really beat you to death. This has not changed since I was a child. However, after hesitating for a moment, Ace still stiffened his neck and said stubbornly. Even if he asks, I won't be a Marine. Yamato followed Su Ming with a hint of confusion in his eyes. Master Su Ming, didn't you say Ace joined the Marine? If he wasn't in the Marine, then I. Su Ming rolled his eyes at Yamato, who was hesitant to speak. Girls in their early 20s are indeed more or less lovesick. Listening to Ace's tough words in the room, Su Ming showed a playful smile. Don't worry, if I say he has joined, then he has joined. Yamato wanted to ask more, but saw Su Ming kick the door in front of him. Garp and Ace were startled by the sudden noise in the room. A figure appeared in the smoke and dust, slowly pulling the knife at his waist out of the scabbard. Yamato, don't you want to know how I trained this kid? Today I'll let you see it with your own eyes. Hearing the familiar voice, Ace broke out in a cold sweat. Chapter 275. He is my grandson, you can hit him but you can't hit me. At the headquarters training ground, a flash of lightning flashed across the ground. Su Ming suddenly appeared holding Ace's collar. Ace, who was still in Garp's house the last second, had no idea what was happening. Now he was being caught by Su Ming, still looking confused. Su Ming didn't give Ace time to come back to his senses. He threw Ace to the ground like trash, stirring up a cloud of dust. Ahem, uncle. Ace coughed due to the dust, but he still quickly stood up and looked at Su Ming vigilantly. Su Ming grinned and said, You little brat, I haven't seen you for a few days, and you've grown wings. You dare to challenge me? The last person to challenge your uncle was the 5 elders. Now grass is growing on their graves. Su Ming slowly pulled out the long knife from his waist. The cold sound of the sword, which was filled with murderous intent, made Ace shudder. It's over, my stubborn words just now were heard. Ace forced an awkward smile on his face. Uncle, that's not what I meant. I was a pirate before, and now I'm suddenly a Marine. Isn't this causing trouble for you? Although Ace still didn't want to be a Marine, he was tactful enough to speak more tactfully in front of Su Ming. At the same time, Garp also rushed over with Yamato. Garp, who happened to hear Ace's words, was immediately furious and rolled up his sleeves to give Ace a loving punch. He just moved intentionally or unintentionally and stood between Ace and Su Ming. You little brat, that's not what you just said to me. Do you think I'm easy to bully? Come on, I will practice with you today. Little b asterisk 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 d. Su Ming rolled his eyes secretly. Old man, you are still trying the same trick on me. On the surface, he said he wanted to teach Ace a lesson, but in reality he was afraid that he would ruin Ace. This old guy is so protective of his own people that he doesn't even bother to protect them. However, Su Ming could understand Garp's approach. After experiencing the Summit War and almost losing his grandson, Garp's mentality must have changed. Garp, who has devoted the first half of his life to the Marine, may now prefer to focus the remaining time and attention on his family. Yamato on the side quickly stepped forward and grabbed Garp's arm. Garp-senpai, calm down. Little girl, let me go. I will break his legs today. I wonder how he can continue to be a pirate in the future. As he said this, Garp covered his arms with a layer of armament hockey. Yamato was a little bit unbelievable. This old man is too violent. Why does he use hockey to take care of children? Even my own father, when he taught me a lesson, only used the thunderous 8 trigrams move and never mentioned adding hockey. Su Ming glanced at Garp and teased. Okay, old man, if you wanted to fight, you could have fought earlier. Do you have to wait for me to come back? Besides, I don't believe you are old enough to be held back by a little girl. What about breaking your legs? Are you willing to do that? Garp's face turned red, but he still remained stubborn. Humph, what are you reluctant to do? Interrupt it as soon as possible so that I can save some trouble. Advertisement, good. Ace, you heard it. Your grandfather has already said that he also wants to break your legs, but he is old and it is inconvenient for him to do such a strenuous task. Your uncle, will do it for you. When you are in a wheelchair, if you want to curse, just curse your grandfather. Garp. Don't worry, your uncle loves you and will definitely buy you the best wheelchair. Draw your sword and slash. Before Ace could react, a flash of knife light passed along the ground. Ace's heart was filled with alarm and he subconsciously jumped up to avoid it. But despite this, the knife light still swept across the sole of his shoe. Revealing the smooth soles of the feet, Ace stood firmly on the ground again, sweating profusely. It was almost like that. If I had jumped a few tenths of a second later, I could have really considered choosing a wheelchair. Looking at Su Ming, who was holding a long knife and looked harmless, the familiar feeling of fear came to his mind again. Uncle, wait, put away the knife first, then we can talk about joining the Marine. However, when Ace looked up, he saw that Su Ming had put on a pair of headphones at some point. Ace, your uncle, really can't bear to hear you screaming for a while, so I'll turn up the volume on my headphones. Please be patient and keep your voice down when you scream. Let's cooperate with each other. Ace, are you speaking human language? If you chop my legs, I should scream softly to cooperate with you? Su Ming didn't give Ace time to complain. He raised the long sword in his hand and slashed out again. Yamato watched as the slash that Ace narrowly avoided passed through the distant clock tower. Simply cut the bell tower into 2 parts. Garp-senpai, is this really okay? Garp hugged his shoulders and turned his head. It's okay. This kid and his uncle have been so close since they were young. Yamato. She finally understood why Ace was so strong at such a young age. Compared to Su Ming, the way his father trained him was simply too loving. There is absolutely no comparison between the thunderous 8 trigrams and Su Ming's slashing attack that can easily cut through buildings. Suddenly, Yamato seemed to have thought of something and asked nervously. But, Senior Garp, Master Su Ming made such a big noise, the collapsed building won't hit anyone, right? Although she is the offspring of the pirate's 4 emperors, Yamato still has the kindness that a woman should have in her heart. Garp smiled dismissively and waved his hand. Don't worry, this guy is very rich. Yamato was puzzled. I am afraid of hurting someone. What does it have to do with Lord Su Ming being rich? Are you talking about medical expenses? Yamato frowned. Aren't Marines supposed to be just? Why does Grandpa Ace, the Marine hero, seem to not care about other people's lives? Advertisement Garp seemed to see what Yamato was thinking and coughed twice. Don't get me wrong. What I mean is that this guy is very rich. Every time he teaches someone a lesson, he asks people to buy up everything within a dozen miles. Strictly speaking, what you see with your eyes now is his private property. Yamato's eyes widened in disbelief. What you see are all Su Ming's private property. She looked around. But, Senior Garp, aren't we at the naval headquarters now? Did Lord Su Ming buy the naval headquarters just to teach Ace a lesson? A trace of embarrassment flashed across Garp's face. Ahem. Strictly speaking, Marine was fully acquired by this guy a few years ago. Every Marine's food and daily necessities are now provided by this guy personally. Even if I am an old man, I am still working for this kid. He deducts my salary whenever he has time. No, the more I think about it, the angrier I get. Garp said as he rolled up his sleeves and jumped into the battlefield. You old jerk, I'm here communicating with Ace. Why are you joining in the fun? Su Ming stopped knife and complained. Garp looked at Su Ming and snorted. He lifted up the exhausted Ace with one hand and said angrily, "Boy, you are not as capable as I was just now. Stand up for me. Let's fight him together today. How about it?" Ace's eyes, which had been somewhat gloomy, suddenly brightened. Defeating Su Ming is his lifelong dream, but looking at Su Ming's strength now, it would be impossible for him to do it alone. But if we join forces with the old man, that may not be the case. At worst I can tie with Su Ming. This business is a sure win. Ace thought so and suddenly became full of energy. "Okay, Grandpa, let's go together." Su Ming raised his eyebrows when he saw this. "Tisk tisk, you old man, you're already so old, why bother? Forget it, I'll grant your wish. Yamato, sit over there and watch for a while, then help me drag these two guys back." Garp said coldly, armament hockey covering both arms. "You little brat, it's still unclear who will be dragged back." "That's right, Grandpa. The monkey family has suffered from Su Ming for a long time. We must seek justice today." Flames rose from Ace's body. Half an hour later, Su Ming ate an apple while sitting on Ace, whose face was swollen like a pig's head. "Hey, speak up, don't play dead. Who did you say the monkey family has been suffering for a long time?" "Saozu, Whatchala, uncle, I was wrong." Su Ming rolled his eyes and turned to look at Garp, who was standing obediently beside him. Seeing Su Ming looking at him, Garp with two panda eyes was startled, and quickly took 2 steps back and pointed at Ace. "What are you looking at me for? It was you, a stinky boy, who tricked me into beating him up. Also, he's my grandson. You can hit him, but you can't hit me."